Hey, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Oh,
yeah.
On the air.
Where are my keys? How I lose the keys that fast?
Hello.
Mic check 1 2.
Can hear you loud and clear. Can y'all hear me?
Loud
Mic
and
check
clear.
3 4. The Feds watching.
You're overexposed.
Who's overexposed?
Shan, you blown out over there.
No, I'm not. Look at me. This is perfect, baby.
Well,
Look at this.
at least the background is.
Background don't matter. It's all about chocolate.
It's all about the foreground.
It's all by design. All this is by design, baby. Oh, let me go change my shirt. I'll be back.
How's your day been, Chris? You're muted, by the way. Say it, you know. Welcome to tonight's show, everyone. We are looking forward to engaging with you all.
Yes, sir. Stephen Day, what's going on, good sir? Let me go to full screen so I can get out of these comments.
What up, Steven?
Stephen Knight. Stephen Morning. Hello, everybody. You can't tell if she thick or thin.
Yeah, swipe left.
Nah.
Swipe left. If you can't tell how she looks in the body, just swipe left.
No, just the picture is just too far back, so that's all it is. You know,
And by design, she did that on intentionally.
trust me, I know. But see, her other picture is you could. So you know, what I do is I look at like the facial structure. If they have a slim face and a really fat neck, it's just like, Or one of the other things that I do is and I actually heard a dating coach say this. She said that if a woman only shows this as like 5 of her photos, you know, this profile right here, she has an insecurity about the rest of her. And I was like, damn. And it was a woman who said that. So, you know, most of the time, you know, people in the dating environment, you know, you don't really see people address the photos that you put up. But that literally says a lot about you in if you're in a dating space. So if you don't put up a full body photo, if all of your photos are mean mugging, like you got a serious face, you know, this you. Every photo you serious, like you don't smile, you know, you don't show yourself out being adventurous or whatever. It, you know, it says something about the insecurity that you have. And so, yeah, I think that's actually kind of dope. So I need to learn how to start.
Here's a question: does that ring true for men?
So I think
is this a good for the goose, is good for the gander thing, or men are allowed to do all caps because they don't want to show their fucking hairline way back here, or you know what I'm saying? You know, every photo he got on the fucking fitted, or all of his photos got them angles and shit where he's sucking it,
right.
Beer gut. The same thing ring true for men as it does for women. Should men always show all their hair, their teeth, and how tall they really are? And if they don't, they have an insecurity.
So I definitely think that they should definitely, you know, be honest about their height, right? You know, they should do a full body picture, and not one of those like you know how women do the angle, you know, they do the camera angles, you know, you hold on right there. They do the camera
angles.
Yeah, like I've learned so much from listening to women and just asking questions. I think that, those angles really just, they change everything. It can slim you down, and I think that you don't have to necessarily show your teeth per se unless it's important to a woman. But I do think that you should smile in one of your profile pictures, just one, right? Because you don't want to come off as this mean ass nigga. Like, you want to be approachable. You know what I mean? So, it is good for the goose and good for the gander.
Well,
It,
that leads me to my next question for you, Chris.
shoot.
First question is, do you discuss this in the Ultimate Vetting Guide?
So,
Second question is, I'll give you both at the same time. Second
okay.
question is, how come the Ultimate Vetting Guide isn't available in Apple Books?
One, because I didn't know anything about Apple Books.
Every iPhone on the planet has an Apple Books on the device.
Yeah, but I don't use the full functionality of my Apple device, and I got two of them.
So you don't leave that money on the table. Okay, all right. And the
I
first
mean,
question?
no, I'm just learning about it, right? So, that's something that I could probably, go in and figure out, right? So,
So
two,
there's Kindle. There's
yeah, there's
Amazon.
Kindle.
There's number
Um,
one, right? Kindle, Amazon, number one. You're already there. I've already seen it. You're bookmarked in the whole nine. Although, because did I ever get my copy of the book?
I mailed it.
I
Daryl got
probably,
his.
I don't know if I got mine. I'll go look. And then number two,
I think Daryl and Rob.
even though Kindle and Amazon is number one, they're really number one for physical books. They're on par. Kindle is on par with Apple Books for the digital versions. Now, I don't know if you have your book in a digital version, but if you do, you got to get it on, and you got to get your physical one over there too. But you got to get your physical and your digital version on Apple Books, because every single iPhone and iPad on the planet has books built in. It comes with the phone, and a lot of people, me included, get a lot of their books from that, because a lot of people don't like Jeff Bezos. A lot of people don't like Amazon, and they just rather have their stuff over there. So whatever money you're making over there, you can double it if you join both platforms. And there's no exclusivity at Amazon. You can put it anywhere you want.
So, the answer to your question is no. I don't discuss what you should do in dating in the book, because it's literally more about the questions that you should ask to create conversation, so that you can have um, a realistic viewpoint of what kind of person you're going to be getting, because the
Ah,
goal is to ultimately vet the person, and it's a workbook. So that's the other reason why it's not on in digital form, because you want to be able to write down the things that you say. So let's say you're vetting Yolanda, Shaniqua, and I Shaniqua and Tara, right? So Tara has, a kid, and she works here. And so you get to write down their particulars. And then when they share a particular story that you think is important, and let's say you ask them a question about, the, you being able to be involved in their kid's life, right? You want to write down what they say to be able to go back and verify, well, she said this, and then now 30 days later, 60 days later, she's not allowing space for this. 90 days later, she's not allowing space for that. She's actually doing the opposite. And so now you're like, okay, she doesn't keep her word, or you can have a conversation about it. You said, when we were talking, that this is how you wanted to, execute our relationship. I'm noticing that these things are not happening. Can you explain to me what are your thought processes around it? And so that's the reason why it's not in digital form and why it's not on Apple Books. And no, I don't.
You don't think that it can work in digital form? And then people
It
use a separate
can
sheet.
if you're able to write stuff
Got it.
out.
All right.
Yeah,
all
because
right.
literally, it's just you want to be able to, because you ask a question, and then you have to go back and ask yourself the question. The next question is, how do I feel about what they said?
Well,
Am I
the reason
being
I asked that
overly
is because
emotional?
if people are dating multiple people, they're gonna run out of space in the book.
That's why
So
you get
they
two.
don't.
You don't want to get this book is strictly for Shaniqua. This strict is strictly for Lala. This one is for, I don't
You
know,
got to buy
whatever other.
multiple books. So each chick
Yeah, you buy multiple
get their
books.
own book.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, each person gets, but see, that's the thing, right? You don't want to buy the book just for, let's say you just start out dating, right? And you swiping and you match with somebody online. And then you don't want to just buy the book because they might be gone within a week. You want this for somebody that you started to build rapport with after like 15, 20 days. And now you're talking on the phone and you want to start to really get to know the person better. So
Okay.
that's the value of the book. So, yep.
Sure.
Sorry about that. What up, Mr. Muhammad?
What's going on, man? What's up with the fellas?
Back in LA?
No, I'm in AZ. I just put up this 88-inch screen, so I had to do some
Shift around.
Yeah.
Okay. Flat screen or it's a
It's a projector.
Okay. You about to do some TV watching, movie watching, or that's just a new
I had a projector. It's like, so what's the point of having a TV? You got a projector.
Facts.
Chris, I ain't got my book.
I mailed it, sir.
Check the tracking.
I can't even tell you what I did with the tracking. That was a month ago.
Shit, wherever you mailed it. Well, you got to send me another one because I ain't got it.
UPS. Well, if Robert got his and Daryl got his,
I ain't get my book.
It went to your
You and I paid before everybody. I paid first. It went to where?
It didn't go to your house. You sent it to a different address. I'm gonna tell you the street name.
It's whatever I put in the text, right?
Yeah.
It don't matter. We talk about it later.
I think I sent you a copy. Actually, I can look up the tracking because I think I sent you a picture of the tracking. I did. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'll be right back. Cool. Go out of there.
Shahid in here. He coming. What's up, cuz?
So yeah, I came for West and West only, man. Where you at?
He came to gangbang. What's up, cuz? Where West at?
Pulling up on West.
West came from Dorsey.
West
Shahid come from Crenshaw. It's like, nigga.
I started to wear my Lokes too, but I was like, nah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I gotta hear Wes. I gotta hear him actually verbalize that because yeah, man.
It makes sense in Wes's mind. It makes sense in Wes. And you know what? To be honest with you, I can kind of sort of see where he's trying.
Yeah, I know where he's trying to go, but
I see where he's trying to come from. But he's gonna have to articulate that, and you know, Wes he's gonna do his best. He's gonna have to articulate because it ain't gonna make sense. Yes. I mean, no matter how you slice it, but we'll see.
Yes, Colin, I'll send them to you right now. I'm sorry. So it says it was returned to me. I just don't have it, so I'll send you another one. I'll just go to the post office, and I don't. You may have to give me a different address. Say what?
I wonder if I sent it to my studio, my office, or my house, or I don't know what address I gave you. I got 4, so I'll give you the address to this house.
Wes, nobody ain't trying to see all that. Sit your butt down.
Is he naked?
Doing all that in front of the camera.
No naked ass.
He must be changing his shirt. Santee Street.
Oh, that's my studio. That's my. You know what? So my film. That's my my fashion studio. Why would I give you that address? No, I'll give you. I'll shoot you some more money to cover the shipping, and that's my studio downtown.
$5.
But it's priced, huh?
It's like $4.
Yes, but it's $4 that's not your fault. Doesn't matter. That's a burger. That's a drink, depending on what bar you go to.
Drinks are $12 in Atlanta.
Wes don't have a shirt no more. Wes don't have an AABMA shirt. Wes, Shahid, they don't got him no more. Shahid wore his out because he used to wear it over his hoodie.
No, yeah, I still got more.
Then stretched it
He
out.
stretched he stretched it out.
And
Then
yeah,
turned gray. Then washed it too many times.
and Weston had too much sex in his shirt, so he got he didn't. It's no good no more. So he don't want to wear. He
Yeah,
wears that love.
y'all
He
know
wears
what's on his love 911 shirt.
hour or whatever the fuck he wears his
Yeah,
love
love
hour.
911.
Yeah, he wears his love 911 shirt whenever he gets the chance.
Yeah. Okay. Colin, you want me to text it to you?
Put it in the chat.
Okay.
The Facebook.
Yep.
Boom, 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 boom.
Wes is here.
He in the back chat. He getting dressed. He keeps coming up naked, and I think Colin is shutting him down.
Yeah.
He up here trying to thirst trap.
I mean, it would probably be Shan, I can't stand when you delete the emails.
I don't delete emails. What are you talking about?
Shannon.
I deleted something?
Okay. It's okay. I'll just go copy and paste. I'll be right back again. Shan, you one of y'all take over. I'll be back.
Oh, the email. Oh, it's in the folder called questions.
I know where it is. No. I know where it is. It's just I can't. If it's not right there on my phone, I can't. If it was right there on my phone, I could click copy paste. But now I gotta go to it. But I'll go get it. Don't worry. Anyway, I'll be right back.
Boom, 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 boom.
So
Man, so Elon Musk, daddy, smashing his daughter-in-law and had a baby. Elon Musk's the richest man on the planet.
What?
The 200 Billy guy. His father in South Africa, from whence Elon Musk came, who's 74 years old today, has just fathered a child with his daughter-in-law, who's 35 years old. And when he was asked why, he said, "We're all here to procreate."
Wait. Is this Elon Musk's wife or his brother or something?
Elon Musk's daddy.
I know, but his daughter-in-law could be Elon Musk's brother, like his sister-in-law. Are you saying he's
the only daughter-in-law you can have is the daughter of a woman that you once married?
No.
No.
You're saying
that's stepdaughter. That's stepdaughter, right? Okay, I'm getting stepdaughter and daughter-in-law mixed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm thinking, you know what? I had in my mind, I'm thinking stepdaughter. I'm thinking he smashed his ex-wife's baby from another previous relationship. But you're correct, Shahid. If it's the daughter-in-law, he smashed one of his children's exes. That's it. That's some Diddy. That's some Diddy and and what's his son?
Whatever his name is.
Which one was dating Lori? I forget. But that's some shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to passing the pussy around.
Oh gosh.
Keep it in the family. Keep it in the family.
Despicable.
Keep it in the family, Colin.
No, sir.
He's 74 and she's 35. They only 30 years difference. It's only 30 years. It's only 30 years, and his children had her first. Hey, you know what? Incest is real though. Like, I forget the name of that family out of Kentucky. I think is the most incestuous family in America, and they all got like birth defects. They all like
it reeks of The Hills Have Eyes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I heard you want that.
Yeah, man. Let's get to it.
Come in here with your social justice T-shirt on.
Man, I cannot.
Oh, yeah, he
find my ass to black.
No, we come in here trying to pull on no heartstrings.
Yeah, he gonna have to do a lot of pandering.
Nobody care about no slavery right now. We talking about what we talk about.
And there's no backpedaling. Listen, there's no backpedaling today, sir. You said what you said. You said what you said.
Again.
So, anyways, I'm excited because it's Thursday night. As always, we are here, and I'm super excited. What? Let us make man come home. Let me enlarge my screen. I can't. Please use proper English. Anyways, welcome to Ask a Black Man Anything. Good evening. Among these great co-hosts, myself, Chris Davis, and this gentleman here to my right, this gentleman here to my left, and these gentlemen down here. Welcome everybody to Ask a Black Man Anything. Thank you all for tuning in. If you are watching us on Facebook, make sure you go over to our YouTube page and type in Ask a Black Man Anything and subscribe. We would love to have you follow us there. So if you want to join the conversation, you'll be able to do so in the comments on the YouTube page. So if you're watching from one particular place, make sure you check us out on the other place. So we would love for you to be with us there. So thank you again. And tonight is going to be a good night. You know why? Because I feel that there's like an attack on, and I'm gonna say it. I feel like there's an attack on Black men. There's another agenda to delete the Black man, not only from the family, but from several different areas of the cosmos or the universe or the world, whatever words you want to put in there, right? And our dear brother, we were, hoping for the best, but he put something out, and we want him to come and explain himself. But before we tell you what he put out, before we do that, we want to share with you that we do have a video that we want to share with you that gives you a little context as to. You're on mute.
I forgot to prep it.
I have it. Did I put it in the chat?
Yeah, but me and Colin, we normally upload it to make it real easy. So unless you could talk to people for a little bit, then I'll have to and make it. Unless we do a screen share, Colin, what you want to do?
Yeah, let's just do a screen share.
It's janky. I don't like doing the screen share. How fast can you get them, Shane?
Just give me 5 minutes. Y'all just talk about it. Just talk about it, and I'll let you know when it's cute.
Yeah, talk about it, and then we can show it.
Okay, I'll talk about it. So from
he came from violence.
All smoke.
For those who haven't seen Wes's video, I feel like Wes misrepresented I don't know if he was a senator or whoever he was. I feel like he slightly misrepresented his position as if the man was trying to be condescending or manipulating vocabulary to gaslight I don't even know what I should call the person, a woman,
professor,
woman, a person with the capacity of pregnancy, or them, they, their. But I don't feel like he was trying to do anything but get an understanding, because she moved so far from the point or the person that she was trying to represent. I was confused. Like, what you're talking about? What he's asking you? The subject what you're talking about, and you throw it on him as if he's trying to be manipulative. She said that type of rhetoric incites violence, which I can't connect it to.
Does.
And yeah, so
I can't.
Go ahead, Wes. How does that? If I ask someone, are you talking about women? How does that incite violence?
A couple different things. Hold on one second. Looks like my screen is frozen.
You're fine. You're not frozen. You're moving.
So first of all, matters. I think we can all agree that asking that question.
Wait, is his audio messing up for y'all?
It is. I just
Yeah,
want to say
it's
that,
messing up. Yeah, his audio is messing up.
Your audio's
the
not.
Lord always
What
finds a
what's it
way
doing?
to silence the BS. It is the good Lord always finds a way to silence the BS. There is no way on earth that a question to
No.
garner understanding from
Wait.
someone who does not understand what you mean. So there's no way that a question should incite violence unless you are under the prognosis of I'm being attacked or I'm under attack. That's the only way that you feel that violence will be incited. But it's on you, Wes.
So here's the thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're still.
Somebody's
Shane, you got to mute, Shane. But yeah, your audio's clipping, Wes. So it's like we hear other word.
So Shan, why don't you run the video and then want to address?
He's still working to get it up. But basically, I'll comment.
Okay.
But yeah, so kind of to Shahid's point, even me watching the video is just like, wait, are you trying to say that men can have babies also? And then it's just like she just like literally got on the defensive. She kept cutting the senator off when he was just trying to gain understanding. And then on top of that, yeah, she did move so far off her point because she was just like went to inciting violence. And it's just like, wait a minute. Because she turned into something completely different. It was just like, now they're invisible. This is why they are invisible. It's like, ma'am, I was asking a question. The first point you made was, I think I heard you say both men and women can become pregnant. That's what I was trying to understand. Now you've gone to inciting violence to they're invisible. All he was trying to do is just gain understanding. So even I was just confused because it's like it went from 0 to 100 in like less than 3 seconds because she just went off the deep end, already on the defensive and kept cutting the man off. As everyone will clearly see once we play the video.
Sometimes I engage in a lot of dialogue and that some will call debate, and it's really called like the proper term for that is called a straw man argument, where you build up this straw man of an argument in order for you to tear it down. But my position was never what you've built up to tear down. So she built this. She made a great case for something that was never being represented, never being argued, never being anything. So it made it seem like she tore down this position that was never put forth in the first place. So so I'm interested to see how the audience views it, because it was clear to me that she knew the senator was correct in his line of questioning and what he was saying, but in order to divert everyone from him being correct, she built up this argument and
violence, invisible. It's just like, wait, let's rewind. Let's go back to the original point.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Exhibit A.
I present to you 2 videos. For those that don't know exactly what we're talking about, I want you to watch this first video. It's during a Senate hearing, and they were discussing the decision about Roe versus Wade and its overturning of that 50-year-old piece of legislation. And they brought in a law professor from Cal State Berkeley to come talk about it. And here is what was said.
I got you.
You got it? Okay, because I got it right here, but go ahead and got it. Do the first one.
You referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
Because of
for
my
us-
line of questioning? So
Because-
we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that trans
dangerous.
people exist by
Are
asking
you?
you if you're
Are
talking
you?
about women
Are you?
having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can
So
get
you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they
Absolutely.
also treated like this, where
No,
they're
they're
told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to
Oh,
violence
we have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot.
He's like,
So can we go piece by piece? Like I really feel like before
Oh,
anything,
you're still muted. You're still muted, Shan.
I want to go piece by piece. I want to let Wes get in.
We are. We are gonna
But I
go.
want-
We're gonna break that down frame by frame, statement by statement, word for word.
You
But
referred
before
to
we go
people
there,
with a capacity for pregnancy.
before we go there, I'd like you to cue up one of our good brothers, the OG, Mr. Wes, who made a response to the said video, and then we can break it all down from the very beginning to the very end. That first video was 1.5 minutes, and here's a 2-minute response from our good brother, Mr. Wes. Go ahead and cue that one up, and let's see what he says to his constituents on his Instagram page.
So I had no intention of making a post today, yet here we are. Welcome to the Love 911. So I got a bunch of DMs today in reference to a post of Senator Josh Hawley questioning Berkeley law professor Kira Bridges in reference to a phrase that she used, people with a capacity for pregnancy. He questioned that language and asked, do you mean a woman? Clearly gaslighting, trying to shift the narrative as though she isn't talking about women's rights. The bottom line is, we should use language, especially in matters of the law, that are most inclusive. Now, the one common denominator, the one thing that I think that we can all agree on as a baseline is that we are all people. So language like people with a capacity for pregnancy means that we're including anyone who fits the description. That would include those people who also may have a capacity for pregnancy regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. If that offends you, if you have a problem with the language alone that is most inclusive, then you have a problem with yourself. What you subscribe to and believe does not diminish what I subscribe to and what I believe. And what I subscribe to and I believe does not diminish what someone else may subscribe to and may believe. In the interest of equality, in the interest of fairness, in matters of law, one should never press upon someone else their own interest, fates, and belief systems. The laws are written to protect all Americans, not just Americans of a specific faith, not just Americans of a specific political preference, and not just Americans of a specific gender, but all Americans. Listen, we don't all subscribe to the same things, but what we should all subscribe to is our humanity.
Ooh, Lord of mercy. Lord of mercy. Okay. So before we let you speak, Wes, I just want to let everybody know that we are not we don't hate any gender or anybody who does whatever they want to do. That is not what this show is, right? We are discussing our viewpoints, and you don't have to agree, right? We're not asking for you to agree. We're not asking you for to like it or love it. We're just sharing what we believe in reference to Senator Hawley and the law professor's comments, and then our dear brother Wes, who came in and said that we should not have to ascribe to what anybody else believes. We shouldn't force that on anybody. But He's gone. Anyways.
Well, yeah.
God don't like ugly.
Like for me, like Wes mentioned something in his video. He said it's an oxymoron to mention fairness and equality in the same sentence because those two are not the same thing. Like people use those interchangeably, and it's not. Like equal rights does not mean if I'm giving something equally to the person next to me, and I'm already at the disadvantage, then that's not fair to me. Because yes, you gave me, let's just say I'm $10,000 in debt, and you spot somebody, each of us $5,000. Now I'm $5,000 in debt, and this person is 15 or so dollars in the net positive. So fairness and equality in the same sentence, it just that doesn't make sense. But again, like I get the idea of the position that was trying to be presented, but that as a woman, any woman that would agree with that is agreeing to her own erasure. She's agreeing to eliminating her own identity, her own value, her own everything. Like for me, I'm like, me and Wes had the conversation last night. I'm a black man, right? That's what it is. I am a black man. I don't identify as anything outside of that. I don't accept anyone that is not of that identifying as that. Would they want to identify? If they choose not to identify as that, cool. But you don't receive the perks of what it is that comes with being a black man. You don't receive the rights or whatever that comes with being a black man, if there are any, right? So once the moment that I remove myself from being a black man, I am participating in the erasure of black men. The moment that I am all inclusive as to what a black man is and who can identify as a black man, I am participating in the erasure of what it means to naturally be a black man. And now the term and the expression no longer holds anything. And anybody can be what they claim to be. And I know that's the position that is being put forth. Yeah, you can be whatever you say you are. So now the person that is not of this is now on equal footing with me just because they woke up one morning and said, I identify as a black man. Now I don't have there's no sacredness to who I am. There's no exclusivity to who I am. There's no anything to my identity now because there's no substance to it. But yeah, we can. I'm Wes. Oh, Wes going again. There go Wes. Go ahead, Wes. Jump in.
So, listen, I can understand where you're coming from. I want you to play this tonight, Shahid. I want you to play back carefully because
Wes, your quality, your audio, we can't hear you, Wes.
I'm gonna log in.
You know, if you just use your laptop speaker, it would just be okay.
Don't be trying to be fancy, Wes. Just use your iPhone.
Tonight we just need you, nothing fancy. Go ahead, Wes.
He's like Teddy Riley.
Yes.
He's like Teddy Riley in that versus battle.
Facts. Go ahead, Wes. We can hear you.
You can hear me now. So my connection is the same. You guys can hear me, right?
It's still choppy a little bit, but go ahead and give it a shot.
It's my connection.
It's messed up, Wes. Yeah, it's
Let's do one last.
We got to get you off of that Boost Mobile. Get you over to T-Mobile.
Wes, we gonna put you on Zoom.
Wes, give us a testing 1, 2, 3.
All right. What about now?
That's better. Go ahead.
Okay. So,
Oh yes, thank you, Wes. Thank you.
okay, so it was the broadcaster. Oh, that's weird. All right. So, so here's the thing. What I was saying was, Shahid, I want you to when this is all done, I want you to replay what you said. And exactly what you said is the exact rhetoric that white people had when it came to giving black people rights. If we consider them as full people instead of 3/5 of a people, of a person, it is going to erase who we are. And then when we were no longer 3/5 of a person, but we were considered a whole person, it was, if we give them these particular rights, going to take away or diminish who we are. We are going to be participating in our own erasure. And then if you give us another set of rights, so that's, just know that exactly what you said, and I understand where it comes from, and I understand your heart when you say it, but just understand that that's the same justification for eons that one people have held when oppressing, or being at the point where when they can no longer oppress another party. When change comes, those are the words of those people. Those are the words of.
Let me jump in really quick,
Yeah,
Rest. Here's the difference, and here's where your premise is wrong, because you're speaking as if African American or black people were not already human beings. You're speaking as if we are a new created thing. We were
That's my
never
point.
we
This
were
is my
never a
point.
new created thing.
And this is the point.
Black people were always humans from the start.
So here's the deal, bro. You are absolutely 1000% correct. We were here. We were already full human beings. We had our divine rights, but there was someone oppressing us who didn't consider us so. And so what mattered most was, all that mattered is the people who are the gatekeepers, the powers that be. If they deem it so, then it is so. If they deem that you are 3/5 of a person, then you are 3/5 of the person in that society. If they deem that you are not worthy of particular rights, of equal rights, then that is what it is until you fight for change. Now, here's the trick. You are absolutely right. We've been here. We this, don't call it a comeback. We've been here. Listen, so have gay people since the beginning of time. And let me not say gay people, because we're not talking about sexuality here. We're talking about gender identity and things that go a little bit deeper than merely sexuality, which is usually the way that we phrase these conversations. The LGBTQ community has been here. We go back to,
So
let's think
Wes,
about just
you have to
years
be
ago when it was written about.
Hold on.
Wait,
Let me jump in real quick, Wes.
you have to
But
be more.
they're not being oppressed by anybody. Like
wait,
black
that's
people,
that's
they're
now
not
that's
they're not
wait,
being
that's
oppressed and being stopped by anybody to do
what?
anything. The
No,
Okay, okay,
the
that
LBGT community has more rights than black people. Like
okay, wait.
like
Hold on.
they're getting more
Hold on.
concessions than anybody.
I wait. Now, whether or not what rights they're getting and whatnot, that's a nuanced discussion,
No,
because
but my premise is they're not
hold
being
on, wait, let me
oppressed.
address it. Let me address it. No, that's absolutely a lie, first of all. And if you think that, then you're just not paying attention to the world and you're in a bubble, and that's okay. But let me just address it for a moment. Um, the reality of it is that you talk about the nuances really quick. I just want to get past that so we can get that out of the conversation.
yeah,
The nuances.
that's where we have to be more specific, because we're not talking about
Right.
homosexuals.
Right. But let me just, the nuances though, to Chris's point though, is the LGBT community. So black people, we only have our limited resources. We only have limited resources, or have had. I mean, things have changed. We have people in higher positions in government, in corporations, the whole nine. But typically, uh, we haven't had people who share our experience in positions of influence throughout society, government, corporate America, and the like. The LGBT community is a wider community than black people because yes, they include black people, but they include Hispanics, they include white
All
people,
right, we get that,
they
but how?
include.
Tell me how they're oppressed.
Wait. Slow down. Don't cut off the fact. I'm addressing what you said first of all, so that you can understand the nuances that because you mentioned them having more rights than us. Well, I'm dealing with that. You've got white men who are part of the LGBT community on down to black girls. So there is an alliance, there's a shared experience there with people who do have power and influence and resources, specifically financial resources, to get things moving, to lobby for certain rights and certain considerations. So that's just the nuance. That's that community galvanizing. We as black people have always needed to galvanize amongst ourselves the way other communities galvanize, and sometimes black people are part of those other communities. So that's just the nuance of why that's different. That doesn't mean that they're not oppressed, because you can only fight for something if you don't have the something. Reality of it is just right off the rip. Well, gay people can now get married. That right there is a right that they had to fight for.
But is that an
Just like
oppression?
until
They weren't in slavery like black people.
wait. So hold on. See,
He
this is
said
where
he
you got to
said
get
there
educated.
it's more gay people than black people.
Oppression is just oppression isn't simply whether or not you had chains on, because if that was the case, then white people are correct. The white people today who feel like we don't need reparations, and we absolutely do. That's another conversation. The white people who feel like, oh, y'all should just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I didn't own any slaves, so, and you weren't a slave, so whatever. This is the point of oppression. Is not just simply about chains, whips and chains. And oppression, and even when it starts whips and chains, it reverberates for decades. There's effects of that become systemic. And to that point, while there was not necessarily, and maybe if somebody did some research, maybe there was a society where they actually had gay people in chains or whatever, I don't know. But the point of the matter, though, is that oppression still happens when you don't have certain access, when you don't have access in a society, a civil society with laws that are supposed to be equal for all. The moment that you don't have access to something that your neighbor has access to, you are oppressed within that thing. Is it to the degree that black people have been oppressed? No, nobody on this planet has experienced what black people, specifically in America, have experienced. Dead stop. That's not debatable. But that is why I feel that black people, we need to start listening more and being more compassionate for others, because we should be the authority on empathy, because we are the authority on oppression. Nobody knows what that feels like we do. So the moment that we see, and here's the one thing, I think I shared this a while back, but the one thing that really bended my heart towards the LGBTQ AI plus community was George Floyd, during the George Floyd protests. There's a guy that I won't disclose to him, but there's a guy. Well, he's out, but there was a guy that I worked on a film with, and I think he actually thought I didn't like him or something, and I don't know if he thought maybe that or maybe, but I just get really focused when I'm filming. And so, and the director whispered it to me. Anyway, long story short, I could tell that he was gay. I just didn't know how out he was, and I don't think he really was at that time. Funny thing is, George rolled around. I didn't see him for a long time. We actually became friends on social media, and because I leaned into, I was a little extra in my communication with him and on set, because I didn't want him to feel that way, to feel alienated, or that I felt some sort of way. Fast forward, we became friends, and then one day I see him on Instagram, and I see his page is just LGBTQ everywhere. Like clearly he's out and expressing himself. I don't know if that was the case back when we did this particular film. And then I saw during the George Floyd protest.
Wes, I feel like you're going like long
Yeah,
in a direction.
I don't.
We gotta Yeah, we going way down a story that has nothing.
Well,
We got your nuances.
So listen. That's imagine if somebody white coming and telling you, "Hey, we don't want to know about all your nuances and how you got here, whatever."
No. I'm not saying that we don't want to know about it. Wes, what I'm saying is
you're not addressing it at all.
Right.
I'm going to.
Right, but here's the thing, Wes.
Wait.
No. Look at the definition. Look at the definition, Wes.
No, but Chris, that's irrelevant because we're not. That's irrelevant because we're not even talking about the oppression of homosexual people. We're not talking about that. See, this is an escape route for Wes when we bring in homosexuals. We weren't talking.
But I'm not talking about that either.
Hold up. All right, now that's bullshit, Shahid. I'm gonna call you on that.
Go ahead.
Fuck you for that one. Listen, I'm addressing what Chris brought in as an escape route, a detour. You and I was talking about something specific that I was going to address,
right?
And Chris derailed the train, so I'm addressing Chris. And
but Wes, you talking about a guy on the farm? Like just get it.
No. So hear me out, Chris. I agree. I agree with you, Wes, on that. I agree with you that. Yes, homosexuals they suffer oppression in their own right. I do not disagree with that whatsoever. Every people has their own set in oppression in a sense.
Right.
But when we talk about that, we're going off.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. I agree 1,000%, and forgive me for saying "f you," but that's how in that moment. That's when that's we gangbanging.
You felt attacked just like that, just like Professor. You felt attacked.
But so here's the thing. So I just want to address that. So Chris, that's another conversation. You don't think gay people, people from that community, are oppressed? Then that's a whole nother conversation. We can have that. That's a whole nother conversation. You should get informed. Now, to your point. The point that I was going to make about what you shared was, I spoke about the language that's the same justification, and I think you mentioned what was your rebuttal to that? You said
my point is Black people have never been a new introduction of people.
Right.
We've always been human beings from the start.
Right, and here's what I'm going to tell you. And my point to that was going to be that LGBTQ people have always been here. They've just been in a closet because of persecution.
West.
Now the difference is that with our Black skin, it's harder for me to hide. There were some Black people who did hide because they had lighter skin, because they were mixed or whatever the case is, and so they went through society and went through life hide the fact that they were Black, and some did it successfully. And the reason that they hid it was because they saw the persecution and the oppression of people who identified as Black and couldn't hide it. So let's just be clear. People been gay for a very long time.
We're not talking about gay though.
Wait. Okay, wait. But people have been. So this is the now, right? So we're not talking about specifically sexuality, but when we start talking about gender identity, let's clear that up because this is what this conversation is about. So
gender identity has always been you either are born a boy or you're born a girl. That's it.
And that's where you're wrong at because actual science, first of all, you have people who are intersexed. Intersex back in my day when we was coming up was called hermaphrodites. So just right off the rip, you have people born both genitalia. Now, typically how that gets handled is the doctor consults with the parents, and sometimes they might deem it an easy call and say, oh,
you're talking about
the male anatomist. Then
a very small sector of people.
Talking about the science.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. But hold on. Let me make the point now. The point is that they've always existed, and the way handled is sometimes one organ is more pronounced than the other, and to some degree, I hate to phrase it like this, but it becomes an easy call. Oh, it's we'll go with the boy and choose the identity for the child before the child can choose it for themselves. And that's that. Other times it's a toss-up. If it's a toss-up, all human beings, and we know that we're fallible and we make mistakes, then sometimes you have to understand that it's impossible for parents who to get it right, meaning who the child lines up with internally. So you choose a gender for a child, and you don't know who they are on the inside. That's always happened. And unless people all of a sudden became perfect and we became God himself, then we have had to make mistakes during that process.
But you're arguing
So that's
you're arguing a position. You're arguing a position that is not true. Yes, hermaphrodites, which are a scientific anomaly, have existed from the dawn of time. But we're not talking about hermaphrodites. We're talking.
Wait, but I'm so
Wes, you gotta let somebody else get in. Like you've been holding the mic.
Hey,
You've been
but I'm
holding the mic,
addressing
Wes.
it. If you wait, listen. Don't say that you won't smoke for me. Don't say that you want to have this conversation with me. And then
but what I'm saying is, Wes, I'm not saying that we don't want to have the conversation.
Chris, if you don't have nothing to say, be quiet.
But I do.
Okay, good. So then when me and Shaheed finish, you can take the mic.
No, but here's the thing. It's about what you're saying, Wes. It's about the whole thing of what you're saying. The end of your Instagram reel said you said something to the fact that you shouldn't push your agenda on somebody else. That's what you're. I mean, can we
hold on, guys? Listen.
We're gonna get to that, but Chris, you got to learn how to have a conversation. Me and Shaheed was having a dialogue. If you want to say something or you want to chime in, say it.
Wes, what I'm saying is you're holding the conversation, and nobody else can talk.
Hold on one second,
If
Chris.
you want to talk, then talk. Don't act like you waiting for me to talk and then don't want me to talk.
Wes, here's the thing. You and Shaheed are having a dialogue back and forth right now. You and Shaheed. Right. That's what because I'm off camera. Shaheed has been quiet the entire time.
Right.
For at least 3 occasions. Every time Shaheed jumps in, you step on him. Now, I understand dialogue going back and forth. Listen to me, because you're getting ready to step on me. Mm-hmm. Let Shaheed land. Let's channel our clubhouse etiquette. Right. Let Shaheed think about your thoughts. Think about what you're gonna say. When you hear some bullshit from Shaheed, make a note of it.
Yeah.
And so you can attack that bullshit as soon as Shaheed lands, because what you're doing is you're breaking his thought, but nobody's breaking yours.
Gotcha.
So that's all. That's really what's happening right here. So
and that's the only point that I was making.
So go ahead, let's pass the mic back to you, Wes, and then when you give it to Shaheed, just give him that courtesy. Cool.
Right.
All right.
And my apologies. It's just that I when you Shaheed, when you said it, I'm like, okay, I understand that, and here's the rebuttal for it. But yeah, I'll practice some etiquette. Yeah, I'm talking in this mic like this is the mic that's working. So, Shaheed, where were we? Right. So I was just making. So the point of that whole thing is you're saying, okay, well, that's hermaphrodites, but this is the part that we have to consider, and the phrase would be intersex now. So the point is, it's a slow walk up to opening up the mind to even consider, because if you listen, here's the thing: if you don't want to understand, if a person doesn't want to understand any of this, then they'll just be committed to misunderstanding it or to not understanding it. And thus it's a mute conversation. It's a conversation that's nonsensical because no one wants to understand. But if you're really listening and trying to understand it and trying to figure it out, or trying to see where it can make sense, not see where it doesn't, then it's a slow walk to open up that box. So intersex people is a key component there, because that in itself alone throws out the whole binary. There's only man and woman. The rest of that slow walk up is after we consider that there are intersex people, and that the next part of it is who we are internally. All of these things that we deem man, woman, we're basing that on the external that we can see. But clearly, we all know that there's more to us than the external. There's the internal. And clearly, we're not all the same, because even within one family, I come from a family of 6, 3 boys and 3 girls. We are all completely different. I can see the similarities and the commonalities, but we've probably got more. We have less in common than we have in common. The point of that is, and a side note is, I grew up with one of my siblings with diagnosed with schizophrenia. The point of making that, I've lived a whole life of my brother having schizophrenia and what that looks like, which is why mental health is important to me. But here's the key: That didn't show up until somewhere it's going into college. When you look at a small child, and even whether it's a baby or a small child or a young adult, everything isn't revealed to us about who they are internally, psychologically, how what their that chemical makeup is on the inside of them. So we can point out and say, oh, boy, girl, based on genitalia, but there's a lot more going on. And so what I'm saying is the consideration and to even start to understanding and having some empathy is once you understand that what that there can be that just that we see on the outside that do show up as random as they might be, like with intersex people, when we start to look at how many anomalies happen internally, far beyond what we see externally, like people on the spectrum, autism, and any other issues or neurodivergency. Like for me, I have an IQ of 151, considered a genius, but I also have ADD and anxiety. So those are things that didn't show. I didn't discover that until I was 50 years old, till last year. So my point is that there are more that make us up on the inside than that makes up on the outside. And that's, if it happens psychologically, it can certainly happen emotionally. We've all met kids and people who are more feminine than somebody else. Those are real things that happen internally, and they aren't always influenced by I was gonna say
Wes,
they're not
Wes, you
by
gotta let
external.
you gotta let Shahid respond, Wes.
I'm letting him cook. I'm letting him cook because my position is not going to be very long. I don't have a long.
Because we gave 3 minutes, Wes, and it's like
That's
you're going
fair. That's
into
fair.
5
Wait,
minutes.
wait,
We just want him to respond.
So
All I have
if Shahid, wait, hold on. If Shahid wanted to respond, he'll just
no. I was
say
letting
he
you.
want to respond.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's right. I'm letting you cook. But now for me, it's very simple. I got
Yeah, go
two
ahead.
questions. Wes, are you a man? And if so, how do you know?
So I'm a man because not just because my genitalia tells me that, and this is the key. Great fucking question. I'm a man not because my genitalia, because if I got in a bad car accident and I didn't have my genitalia next week, I'm still a man. I'm a man internally because I know it with my being, with my fiber. I know it with my attraction. I know it with my energy. There's just a knowing, and it's not based on
Your
society.
attraction.
Yeah, I place
Your attraction to what?
my attraction to my attraction to the opposite sex. That doesn't now that's sexuality because I'm telling you, ask the question. I'm telling that's sexuality, but that's only a small part of my knowing. The rest of it is just who I am, who I feel like I am on the inside, right? So that is the part that we can't jump inside somebody else and tell them who they are or what they feel like.
So, Wes, if I have a child and my 5-year-old son says, and he feels like inside he's a dog, does that mean he's a dog?
A couple different things. So that's where we start to conflate it when we start talking about, well, then if a person feels like they're a dog or an inanimate object, that's a silly argument, and you can just keep going on. But I was telling you this, it's absolutely silly because a dog's feelings we don't experience as human beings. We don't know what that dog is feeling. We can have some sort of we can kind of figure it out because dogs tend to show love and show some emotions. But that's not. But your child doesn't grow up in a household with dogs parenting him, reflecting who he is.
You're knocking down your own argument because one position you just held was basically your identity, your gender identity comes from the conscious, the consciousness. So when we give the gender identity to the consciousness, we eliminate the physical parts, the physical makeup as human beings. So now, as my 5-year-old son with his consciousness, he can feel like he's a dog. He can identify as a dog. and it will make him a dog.
All right.
Because
So
that's what
so
it feels
so
like inside.
so
Can
here's
I
what.
just make one point? Can I make one point? And I'm gonna shut up. Here's my only point. At the end of your video, Wes, you said what you subscribe to doesn't diminish what I believe, and I wrote
Yes.
it down. And what I subscribe to doesn't diminish what you believe.
Right.
In the interest of fairness, listen to
Yes.
your words. In the interest of fairness, one should never press upon anyone their own interests, faiths, and preferences. However, you're
That's
pressing your interest
no.
on us, saying
So
that we should be. Are you gonna let me finish?
yes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That we should agree that just because you believe this way, that everybody should believe that way. And that's not the way that I want to believe. I don't want to believe that just because my son believes that he's a girl, that I should accept that. I don't have to accept that. And it's not transphobic. It doesn't mean that I hate my son. It doesn't mean that I'm oppressing my son. It means that I am a person that completely disagrees. And if by your statement that I don't, in the interest of fairness, I should not press my ideas or press my own interest on someone else, then let's not try to make all the laws and everything equal for everybody.
Oh, what did you? So wait.
Right? Because
Hear
now
what you said. Wait, hear what you
hold on.
said.
Now
You said
one group is pressing their ideas upon everybody. And that's what
so.
you said we should not do.
Y'all sound like the slave masters. Listen to what you just said. So let's
Oh,
not make your
Wait.
words.
Hold on. First, Wes, please don't ever say that I sound like a slave master.
You do sound like a
Let's
slave
well,
master.
you can say it about me. You just have
right.
to
Listen,
So
but
let me.
listen. Don't include me in that, because what I'm
Okay,
saying is,
I'm telling
if
you.
you're saying don't put your ideas on me, why do I have to accept your idea?
So listen
You're
to what
putting your
I'm
idea
telling.
on me. Okay, let me
No,
turn
I'm
down.
not. No, I am not. So here's the
You
thing.
just did.
That's why context and understanding comprehension is
But more
everything.
importantly, let's get back to the Senator
No,
Hawley, because that's the
no.
content.
Wait.
That's the conversation that we have.
Wait, no. Now I'm going to address what you just said. Don't keep moving the goalpost. Let's attack it. Let's address it. It's a great conversation. So, first of all,
He did say that.
the point that's why context and comprehension is everything. The point is the rest of it, and to the point of the Senator Hawley thing is we're talking about legal language. So you just said something. You just said let's not make everything equal for all, or whatever you said. I will go back and play it. That is the craziest, and that is the words of the slave masters. That's why I made that comment, because those are the words that's their rhetoric, their mantra. Here's the point. The point that I make is when it comes to laws of the land and legality, it is about being, what else did I say? Using the language that is most inclusive. That's the point. Using the language that is most inclusive. The language that is going to
Believe the
be
way you believe,
equal.
then I don't have to subscribe to that.
Are you listening? Wait, but you're missing the point. Nobody said that you don't that you had to subscribe to it. But what it is that you can't. If you want to sit at home and believe what you want to believe and give that to your kids, then bravo. That's what we all should do to some great extent until our kids say that they want to be their own people and have their own mind, and then that's another conversation. And that's a you and that person's conversation. But so you believing a thing is different. You cross a line when you try to write the thing that you believe into law. Now, people are not trying to write into law that you have to believe that they are a trans man or a trans woman or how they identify. The laws are simply about protecting everyone. It's called equal protection under the law. And so when you use language like pregnancy, people with the capacity for pregnancy, well, then from Shahid's standpoint, well, that's women, and that's all that matters. And you know what? Bravo. That means women are taken care of. Cool. But when it comes to respect for other human beings and how they might view not just the world, but view themselves, if we use language like a woman and that person doesn't subscribe to being a woman, that might be problematic for them. What's wrong with using language that is most inclusive? And if we say people with the capacity for pregnancy, well, then all that means is that that person that you might deem as a woman, or that might have once deemed herself as a woman, but now wants to identify otherwise. And it's not always that she wants to identify as a man. Perhaps it's non-binary. Whatever the identity is, the point is that if that person still has a womb, has a uterus, and they fall under the description of people who are who have a capacity for pregnancy, then those laws that apply, that would have applied only to people who subscribe to being a woman and having a baby, that person now has access to those same laws, insurances, whatever it might be. And it doesn't matter how she identifies. The point is she fits that person, he or she or whatever she decides to call herself, fits that description and is therefore protected under the law, equal as everyone else. That's the whole point. That's the point.
All right.
All
So
right,
I think
Wes,
it's unfair. What you're basically saying, Wes, is that anybody can play both sides of the fence. I can be a
anytime.
man when I feel like it and get the benefits of being a man, and I could be a woman when I feel like it and get the benefits and protections as a woman, as long as I just identify as whatever I feel like identifying on any given day of the week.
and you
But
know what?
go ahead.
Before you respond, Wes, that opens a whole Pandora's box. Because I mean, we're already starting to see it where it's just like everybody's just using it to their advantage. Where it's just like, oh well, you know, I was a woman on this day. As ridiculous as it sounds, it's just like, well, I was a woman on this day, so I was not illegally in the woman's bathroom because I identified as a woman at that time. So people can use that to their own advantage to fulfill their own little agendas and things like that. But going back to the video, I think it was confusing because if she's talking about trans women, then the argument would be, yes, they can get pregnant because it's a trans woman. But just the way it was phrased, it made it seem like no, both men. What was that?
A trans man, you mean?
Right.
What did they say in the video?
She
They
said
said trans man?
Yeah.
I think she said transgender. I don't think she
Well,
identified.
she said,
Whichever.
she didn't make the distinction. She said transgender. But what I'm saying is, then if what she meant was a trans woman, I could see where that would be like. That's the only thing I could see where it's like it's just being met with rebuttal, because it's like if she's talking about trans woman, then yes, a trans woman can get.
She literally
pregnant.
said transgender men.
She said transgender men.
Right, and that's
okay.
a trans
quote.
Then that's an issue because
and to clarify
that just goes back to what he was asking. So are you saying that both men, or are you saying that men can get pregnant? And then it just went off the deep handle. And yes, it happened here on this stage because it went way off field.
So, Colin, to your point, though, you're getting it backwards. Trans men, a trans man would be a woman, someone that we would deem as a woman now, actually identifying a man. Meaning, but she hasn't had an operation. She that particular person now who wants to identify as a man said, hey, I'm internally, this is who I am, this is how I've always felt. And here's the thing, we have to be careful because people don't play with this stuff. Nobody's running around saying, hey, yeah, I want to get this ice cream cones over here for that's for women, so I'm gonna be a woman today and go get me some ice cream cones.
Yes, they do.
That's why I said it opens it opens the Pandora's box because it's already.
They play with that a lot, Wes.
That's not true, Wes. Now you're doing what you accused Chris of doing. You need to do more research and do more studying because that's an ignorant statement.
People play with that a lot, Wes. They're using that in airports.
Wait,
go ahead.
I just said government done that for
Go ahead, Wes.
Go ahead.
Today's your
Robbie
day,
Copy.
Wes. Today's your
So I
day.
said something.
Today's your day, boss. You got 80% of the mic. Go ahead. What were you saying?
So
But he explained trans men. So he said, explain it one more time.
A transgender man is somebody that was born as a girl, born with a vagina, and became a man. That's a transgender man.
Got it. So she was saying that a transgender man can have.
She was saying
to be
that a
specific,
transgender man
Can
can
get
have
pregnant.
has the capacity to have a child because it was born as a woman. It has a uterus. It ovulates.
Okay.
It drops eggs through the fallopian tube. A transgender man can still get pregnant because biologically
Right.
a transgender man
Okay.
can still be a woman. However, the law, especially in California and many other states, will not legally recognize that person as a man until they have a doctor say that they have gone through a medical procedure that classifies them as such. Now, the fuzzy part is what the doctor and the person deems as medically relevant is between those two people. And so you got some doctors out there that's playing the role with their fucking doctor degree, just giving out fucking signing off on anything that they want.
Okay.
But
all right. So y'all explained it to me perfectly. Thank you. And it's still confusing. It's very confusing. I hate to get biblical on y'all.
It was
Y'all know I'm
confusing
gonna
for
do
me
it.
too, and it took a minute for me.
But God keeps everything simple. That's what I'm gonna say without us getting flagged. And the Bible talks about who's the author of confusion. So it's like when it gets complicated like this, that's not of God because God made it very simple in the beginning. So when you're talking about all this stuff, Wes, even when you're just trying to explain this, it's confusing because you have to put in a lot of energy just to try to break down your thesis of everything and who's violating what. It's just like, honestly, it would be tough. It would be tough for me to understand or when I would be offending somebody or violating somebody because there's so many layers to this thing. So, and I can see where that wasn't even a means for an argument with that senator. He was just basically asking a question, and then it just got off the deep end by the lady. She just got offended by that and just took it to a whole nother place. So, and yes, this does open a Pandora's box because there's already people that are using and abusing this for their own benefit. So you can't say we're going to be dangerous saying stuff like that. It's already happening. It's like just read any news, go to CNN. There's probably a case of somebody doing that today or yesterday.
Just Thursday of last week.
I didn't even know that.
That attacked that girl in the bathroom,
and
then they turn around and flipped it by the time they got to court.
If I wanted to right now, Wes, I can identify as a woman and go be the best player in the WNBA right now if I wanted to. And get all type of branding and endorsement deals and all type of money and all this if I wanted to. So you can't sit here and say people like this is literally happening within sports. Women or men have not measured up to the standard of what it takes to be a male athlete. So they switch over, become women, and now they dominate women's sports. We're seeing that before our eyes. So how can we say that nobody's playing with that?
You know right, like there was the white guy, a white person that was a swimmer. I think he was like 400th in the men's, and then he identified as woman, and now he's like the number one. But they banned him, right? And then there was the MMA fighter that was also, I guess, a male, and then switched. He beat the snot out of that woman. So it happens.
He broke her face.
Here's the other thing. Then you have a natural-born woman who just so happened to have higher testosterone levels. Now they don't want her to be able to compete. She hasn't taken any steroids. She hasn't made any transition. She just is a woman that naturally has higher testosterone levels than other women. And now they trying to eliminate her from competition.
Wes, one more thing before you respond. You know how laws in the future are going to be written or how they've been written right now?
No, how is that
been written? With a pencil.
Okay.
Why? Because they got to change it every time. They're going to have to erase it and change something else. They got to erase it and change something else.
That's the nature of evolving. We still working under a constitution that really should have been.
Is this evolution?
Wes, this is not evolution.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I said don't jump on the word. I said the evolution of laws, and because we working under a constitution that should have been rewritten. We still got, matter of fact, we still got slavery today, and
That's true.
with people
That's true.
incarcerated. So
Laws have always been written in
all of this
pencil.
shit should have been written.
It's always been written in pencil.
You know, the electoral
So Wes,
college, that would have, all of that shit should be written in pencil. But let me address
yeah,
one thing
it has
before you
been.
shift.
It has
I'm
been.
gonna give it right
It
back
has
to you,
been.
Shan. But
So Wes,
just to address,
here's a question for you. Here's a question for you, Wes.
wait,
Here's a question for you. I know you got a lot to say, Wes.
Question, no, I just want to address what was. I don't want to pass up what was just said, which is the whole thing about sports. Sports is another conversation. I don't quite understand it. I actually take an issue with some of the very same things you guys are pointing out in when it comes to sports. But let's and that's why two things can be true at the same time. And right now we're speaking specifically about that video and what was and we're talking about matters of the law when it comes to women and pregnancy. That's what we're talking about, because when it comes to the other stuff, sports, that's a wild one. I almost feel like we should just have one, we shouldn't even be men and women's sports if it's going to be that, and then just may the best man win. But that's a whole nother conversation.
But we already know
Go ahead,
how
Shan.
that's gonna go.
So Wes,
So
going back,
let me redirect real quick, Shan. Because the reason why we started the show is not to talk primarily about only what Wes posted, but to talk about the conversation
You referred to
between
people with a capacity for pregnancy.
perfect.
Go ahead, Chris.
But the conversation between the senator and the woman, and how one of us felt like it was gaslighting, but the rest of us just did not see that, right? I saw it, and maybe
Right.
and I think Shaheed may have seen it as the same, as he was trying to get an understanding, right? And I think we've been round robin, right? Okay, so transgender people are not getting the same treatment as
cis people.
I don't use that term.
Well, we got to have a conversation. We got to use something. So
as men.
I don't
as
know
men and women.
I don't know what the context of their specific conversation was, but if I today just so had, and I know it won't happen because I don't have the capacity of pregnancy, but let's just say science, technology, whatever. If I got pregnant, Wes, do you think that the hospital is going to deny me because they're going to say, oh, he's a, like, are they going to deny me my birth to give birth?
Is he frozen?
Yeah, he's frozen.
Yeah, God frozen.
I think what he would say is the dangers that would arise from the possibility of it not being there. Like it was in slavery. We would get turned away from hospitals. We would get turned away from doctors. It's the danger. And granted, at these days and times, it's
What you say we
less
would?
likely.
We would get turned away? Did you say we would get turned away?
No, I'm saying that if it isn't addressed and if it isn't held as important, then the likelihood that something like that could happen, the potential that you could get turned away because you don't have the right thing, or maybe you won't be covered from your insurance company because you're not the right gender or whatever, for whatever reason. That could be a dangerous line that could be flirted with and you could be turned away with. If I make sense.
Robert, the dangerous line is just all of the layers this is creating, all these confusing layers this is creating.
So just my strategic mind, why not just for the sake of getting the job done? Why is it so hard to just identify as that for that moment? Is it going to hurt that much to just say, okay, I'm a woman in this moment, to get this done, I'm a woman?
Let me ask you this. In what scenario would you ever feel like it's okay for you to identify as gay? In what scenario do you feel like you would say, you know what, in this moment, I'm gay?
If somebody put a gun to my head and said, are you gay? And it's the only way I'm gay. What? Like, what are we talking about?
Government funding. Government funding. How about government funding? How about the SBA loans?
No,
right.
I get where you're going with that. I agree with that.
There's literally millions of dollars available to gay people, women that this black male owner can't get. As an entrepreneur, I'm not qualified to get
Right.
that $100,000 as
But
a grant. I don't even have to pay it back. As
Now-
opposed to if I was to claim myself as gay, all I have to do is say that I am homosexual and I get the check.
And
or
Shan, to your-
trans, or you can say
How you
or
do
you
it?
can say that
How
I
you
identify
do
as a
But then
woman, and you get
tomorrow
that
when I
same
get the check,
treatment.
I can go back.
but Shan, Shan, to your point though, that is the same. See, this is why we really. I hope each and every one of us goes back and listen to our arguments here, because Shan, even what you just said is the same argument that people have about affirmative action when it comes to colleges, and black people. They think that there's a spot that's being taken from them because
No,
they
but
have to have
Wes,
black people in there. Wait, let me finish my thought.
let me get that.
And it's the exact same when it comes to money and finances. There's just like there's money, there perhaps is money. I'm not aware of it, but you may be with the SBA and other places for gay people from the LGBT community. There is money there available for black.
See,
Go ahead, Robert. Go ahead, because
They
yeah,
say the
our vice
same
president,
thing
our vice
about
president was
why
black.
is there
It was
necessity
convenient.
for there to be a
Wes, you breaking up. The audio, the
what?
production is getting bad because of your audio. It's whatever you have on the audio. But we got your point. Basically, it's money out there for people to go to college for black people where it's not for other people. Hell, that's what Kamala Harris did. She was black when it's convenient. Then she's Indian when it's not. So, but go ahead. I think Robert wanted that one. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, because like even looking different scholarships, looking for different things you can do with your business, like Sharon said with the SBA
Whoa.
loan. Just to
Y'all
say
audio
you
is
have to be
Yeah,
female,
Robert, you
you have to
got
be
a lot of
minority,
noise going
or you
on.
have to be trans. You can
that's
identify my audio bad.
Yeah.
it's
Man,
bad.
what is going on with the Federation? The Federation cannot get no decent goddamn internet. Us over here in the Empire, the Empire got goddamn cable modems, right? We got fiber over here on the Death Star has good internet connection and shit. But y'all niggas on Tatooine, y'all niggas over there on Tatooine, on planet Tatooine don't have no internet. You guys better be using like a satellite connection or something.
Man, I'm on
You know, is it
studio
a
Wi-Fi. I don't
sandstorm
get
and
this.
shit going on over there with your motherfucking Land Cruiser? I have no idea why
Matter
you
of fact,
two never.
I'm on studio
You, you
Wi-Fi.
know what?
I don't
You
get
know
it.
what I want to. You know what I want to address real quick. I want to know how does asking a question incite violence? I really need
Well,
to
you know
get
what,
that.
Chris? Let's break it down word for word, like we said about an hour ago. Go ahead, Colin. Let's do it phrase by phrase, question by question on the video. Let's start at the first video.
The capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
First off, what's wrong with that question?
Right. So that's the first. So I'll play it again and I'll stop it.
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
All right, right there.
That's a fair
Now,
question.
what we need is Wes here right now, so he can explain to us because he is the one that accused this senator of gaslighting, and the question was unfair according to Wes.
Gaslighting. Just asking a question is gaslighting.
So he said, I just, because they were moving on. So for those that need a little bit of backstory, right before this, they were getting ready to move on, and he had a point of contention. And he said, before we move on to the next part, which another senator had, he said, I just want clarity. When you called it people with the capacity of pregnancy, were you talking about women? That was the question. Now, a ton of people, not that many, but enough, feel that question alone is unfair.
Not. It's not.
Play the next part.
Right. Wait, hold on. I just want to did Luke Skywalker said no? It wasn't?
No, it's not. That's not unfair. I feel like a lot. Go ahead. We're gonna keep going, but no, I don't feel like it's. I don't feel like that's
Okay,
an
cool.
unfair question.
Where's Wes? He's not here?
Yeah, he's on that
His
cricket
internet
network.
connection. He's using the AOL disk from 1998.
He on dial-up, huh? Okay, go ahead. Let's move on.
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy.
Okay.
So she answered the question.
Right. So can you explain that to what does cis mean?
So
Means
it's
that you're born a woman.
Natural born woman.
Natural born.
All right.
So cis women have the capacity for pregnancy. Basically, most women can get pregnant, and cis women cannot have the past. Do not have the past. Women that are infertile. She's just talking about women that
Right.
have something,
That
maybe
were
some.
born
So
women.
it's just like it's just adding an extra layer on there. If you take the cis off and just say women, then it's just like, oh yeah,
Correct.
we can, it's easy to
Right.
follow
Women.
along.
Some women can get pregnant. Some women can't get pregnant. They're
Right.
adding.
Right.
It's like just keep it simple. It's like right there, and then you just add these layers of complexity, and then it's like it gets confusing. So
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
it's too much.
But wait, there's more.
There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's.
Pause it. So there's trans men that's capable of pregnancy, and there's also non-binary women that's capable of pregnancy. So she's identified 4 different people in this statement, 3 of which can get pregnant, 1 of which can't. There's cis women that can, there's cis women that can't, there's transgender men that can, and there's non-binary women that can. So transgender men is born a woman, but woke up one day and said, I'm no longer a woman, but didn't get the operation done. All her inner parts is working fine. Only thing difference is maybe she cut her hair and she start, wearing men's clothes, and so that person is now saying, I am no longer a woman, I am a man. Start considering me a man. I didn't change anything. My vagina is still here. I can still lactate, but I'm a man, right? That person could get pregnant if they have sex.
Right.
Then
So
there's a non-binary woman.
okay. So non-binary means.
Not
No,
identifies
non-binary.
neither.
it means just up in
So would you say that's taking
I'm
advantage? If you
neither.
are you saying that's taking advantage? Would you say that's taking advantage of that system or those rights? If 5 years she decides, well, I want to have a kid, I'm still going to identify as a man, but in this moment, I want to have a kid, and she gets pregnant. So would that be? Would you say that's taking advantage of?
it would only be if they specifically went towards something that gave them a certain privilege. For example, if there was a loan out there that like first time homeowners loan for women or something like that, and then I or any naturally born man said, you know what, I'm going to identify as a woman to get this loan. And then once I get the loan, sign all the documents, et cetera, I'm gonna be like, oh, I had a change of heart or mind or whatever, and now I'm a man. And if it's another first time, however much money loan for men, I'm back to being a man and I can go get that because this is how I identify and it's all conscious based. So why not?
People
Which
are
is
doing that with
absolutely
grants,
happening.
scholarships, with all sorts of
Absolutely
funding,
happening.
PA, all that. That's absolutely true.
And you know what? To be honest with you, that's Wes's point. I think not the gaslighting part, but to this point particularly, he was saying, and that's where I told you guys earlier. I kind of see where Wes is trying to go. Basically, when they say by letters of the law, and he's saying inclusion, we have to include everybody. We have to just, but when it comes to legality, when it comes to writing it down in a law, not how we feel, not how we talk when we're at the fucking in the break room at work, but in the letters of a written law to be passed to govern people, we have to include women that are born as women and they can have kids, normal shit, right? And then we have to include women that were born as women but don't want to be women, they want to be men. They just didn't do any operations, but they can still have sex with men if they feel like it one day and get pregnant by that guy if semen gets up in there and fertilizes the egg. And then we also have to include non-binary women who say, I'm not a woman or a man. I'm just free. I'm a flower. I'm a fucking mailbox. That's what I'm a microphone. That's what I am. Don't call me a man. Don't call me a woman. I'm not he, she, him, or her. I am just a computer screen. That's what I want to be called. So there's non-binary, right? And then there's the what was the third one?
Yeah.
Cis, or you
That
said cis, non-binary, transgender men.
Transgender. There's the transgender women. Oh, I addressed that one. So I did. That's all 3. So he's saying. So what Wes is basically saying is there's 3 people who are considering themselves the ability to have a baby, but not all 3 call themselves women. One calls himself a woman. That's the overwhelming majority of the women on the planet. But 2 of them doesn't identify with women. One actually
binary
claims men, and the other one doesn't claim neither one. So
just
if we're going to
binary.
write a law, we can't write the law and say women if these people aren't calling themselves women, even though they can get pregnant. That's Wes's point, right?
But,
I still call it bullshit because I don't like to change English words, and I think words have meanings. But I'm just trying to, since he's not here to say it, I think that's what he's trying to come at.
But if the topic of discussion is pregnancy, why does any of this matter if they have the capacity to get pregnant?
That's why I said it's just that extra layer. It's just like take the layer off. We're talking about women.
Pretty soon
Women who are fertile, women who are not fertile. That's it.
We'll be writing stuff based on chromosomes soon, because really the chromosome, you break that down, that's the one thing you can't change. You cannot change your chromosome. You can change things in your DNA now, but you can't change your chromosome.
So here's the thing. To answer that question is where it comes up the next. So go ahead and hit play again.
Are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those
right there. So the senator asked then, she said, so you telling me that it's not just women that we're traditionally known of, it's also cis women and it's also transgender men that can get pregnant technically if they have sex with a guy or get inseminated. So this is not a women's rights issue. That's his question. This is more of a, but then she stepped on him, but I know where he was going. This is more of a people's issue. He was getting ready to say, so this isn't a women's rights issue. This is a people's issue because it's not just women that can get pregnant. But then she came and said, I think it's safe for us to say that we could recognize not just women get pregnant. I still don't see the gaslighting. I still see him.
There is no gaslighting.
I still see him just trying to.
So here's the gaslighting. So here's the gaslighting. This is why you guys don't see the gaslighting. Because, well, you know why I jumped on another my iPad. So the reason you don't see the gaslighting is because guys, and maybe I'm wrong, but aren't very familiar with Senator Hawley. If you know Senator Hawley and his stand, everything from there's just been so much controversy, and the fact that he's a huge supporter of Trump, and it's in itself because there are some good people who actually lean. Reasons are that doesn't make them inherently bad people in itself. And you've seen him politically, and I've been big in politics and know how we know exactly everyone who heard that from Senator Hawley doing it, where he was leading, and the fact that he was gaslighting. If that was another senator, it would have been more genuine. But we know his stance concerning a lot of these things. We know it to be gaslighting. Context is everything, and not just context of person and who you're dealing with.
I got you. So here's the thing. Here's what I'm having to say. This is why you said you could be wrong, and you absolutely are. Is because you're speaking from an emotional standpoint because you know who's saying it. You're basically saying depending on who says depending on the deliverer. No, listen to me. Listen to me. I heard you. And what you're basically saying is you're saying basically, okay, Wes, don't step on me. Wes, don't. I'll mute you, Wes. Don't step on me. I didn't speak when you spoke, so don't speak when I am.
Go ahead.
You're basically saying you're not basically saying, you said, because you are well versed in politics, you know he's a Trump supporter, all this other stuff that really don't fucking matter when it comes to verbiage. You're basically saying because he said it, he's gaslighting. But if this same question, the same thing, the exact same words, verbatim, word for word, would have came from anybody, if it would have came from fucking Kamala Harris, it would not have been gaslighting. And if that's the case, then you're absolutely wrong, because it shouldn't matter who says it. All that matters is the words. But you want us to feel a certain way because you feel a certain way about Senator Josh Hawley.
Okay. So
we're simply saying, based on the question, close my eyes. I don't care who's saying it. Type it in the computer and let me hear Siri say it. I want to hear Alexa say it. It doesn't matter who the deliverer of the message is or the question in this particular case. I simply want to know.
Wes, you got to chill. Let him finish.
Look, that's the craziest thing, because we all feel differently about that. If someone on our stage right now. If a mud wrestler came on our stage right now and asked some young lady if he might.
Is he talking about himself in the third person?
Nah,
Nah, but we all do gotta recognize that when we know that somebody's saying something, like some grown person is saying something to us, we'll have a different response. Like if
yes,
our wives come and say something to us, yeah, that's one thing. But if the wrong person, so it's still the same principle.
the mic
If the
is
But no,
wrong
I
person
get
you
it.
know has a track record of saying the wrong things and just being that type of way, they say
Absolutely.
something,
If
we
Trump
won't
says
actually jump on
something,
it.
Hey, you gotta
if
move
Trump
away.
says
You probably
something
gotta
that
move away
that
from
that Obama says, we gonna hear it different. It's a different filter coming from Trump. They can say the same fucking thing, but I'm not gonna call him gaslighting if one of them says it versus the other.
But
See, what we're
someone
talking
is
about
known
is
for
gaslighting. And if we
gaslighting,
understand the term gaslighting, that's not what happened. I don't give a fuck about what the person's. Yeah, I don't even like the fact that why are you asking that? Why do you is that a rhetorical question coming from you? Because I already know you know the answer to that. In fact, she answered this question earlier. Because you got to go back and watch the whole hearing. It would have been better if she just said, I already answered that question. He already knew the answer to the question that he was asking. I know he did.
So that
Everybody on the panel did, but he wanted clarification. But that's what senator hearings are about. Emphasize. We want you to be clear. Make sure that there's no ambiguity, and that happens all the time in these kind of hearings. Now, maybe she doesn't do them all the time, but that absolutely happens, and it happens on both sides. But it's not gaslighting.
literally
Wes,
just
you
gave the
literally, but Wes, you
Shan
literally just said if it came from somebody else, it would have been more genuine.
wait. So here's the point. So Shan, the fact that he knew what it was. So here's the thing: you can't put the onus
Makes him an
on
asshole.
her. You can't put the onus on her. Yeah, an asshole for gaslighting. You can't put the onus on her because when you're in front of the Senate, you have to answer the question no matter how many times. You don't get to then all of a sudden be the person that says, you know what, I answered that the last time. She don't have that ability to do that. When you're in front of the Senate, you have to answer their questions, to answer them even if you ask them 20 million times.
Yes, that's true.
Wes, my question to you, Wes, is this. If that woman came on Ask a Black Man tonight and her and I had the exact same exchange, would I have been gaslighting her?
No, because I know you. You are genuinely like, I'm trying to understand this. But that's the difference. Because Shan said that, Shan even acknowledged that guy was. And if it makes him an asshole, Shan, it made him an asshole because he knew the answer. You know what the answer is, but you're asking someone a question. You're questioning something. You know that person's answer to it, but you're doing it for some cause to ignite and move some natural, all the other things that gaslighting can lead to. That's the definition.
So just understand.
Shan.
You got to understand that gaslighting is about somebody asking somebody something to get them to question their own statements, to question their own reality. He wasn't. Listen to me, Wes. Listen to me, Wes. Listen to me, Wes. Listen to me, Wes. No, it ain't or to make a fool. Gaslighting is when somebody, like when you get in an argument with a girl or you get in an argument with a guy and somebody says something and then you turn around and you want them to basically question what the fuck they just said. Do you believe the shit that you just said? And they turn around and oftentimes spin it around and bring it back on them. He wasn't doing that. You just yourself said, no matter how many times at a Senate hearing, motherfucker got to answer the question over and over and over again. You'll hear it from Democrats that'll come back and say the same thing. They'll act, if that's the case, then everybody gaslights at a Senate hearing based on your definition. When they had goddamn Mark Zuckerberg up there talking about Facebook and this privacy issues. The reality is it wasn't gaslighting. But I think people use these terms like gaslighting and narcissist and all these different terms, throwing them out there because they make them feel good about an argument when it's actually not true. Now, was he being an asshole? Sure. Is he a Trump supporter? Absolutely. Is he out there trying to make sure that she fucking emphasizes what the fuck she just said? Absolutely. Are you basically, does he want her to realize that, does he want to be sure? Are you saying that, is this a women's issue or is this a people's issue? Just want to be clear for the record. That's okay
so right
to
there,
do.
So you
Why
just
is that
said
not
it. You
okay?
just gave the definition of gaslighting. The fact that he said you just said specifically that he wants her gaslighting is a form definition of form of psychological manipulation attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in the victim's
Yes,
mind.
he wasn't trying to do that to her though.
You just literally gave the
He
definition.
was not trying to give her self-doubt. She was saying this is a Senate hearing. But anyways, we're gonna go around the posy on this one. We're going word for word on this. So listen, here's the deal. We started it from the top, and then he basically, you know what? Take it from the top real quick, and then play it all the way through to where we need to stop next.
All right, just tell me when to stop it.
All right.
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts
Stop it right there. Stop it right there. So
right there.
Is that a fair question to ask when he says, so we're not talking about a women's right issue? That's not a fair question? Because
it's absolutely fair.
Because clearly we're not.
So this is why context matters. This is why the context of who it is, what their agenda is. So here's what he's asking. He knows that it's a women's rights issue.
No, but it's not though, Wes.
What was said previously.
Yes, it is. Let him finish, because it is. Let him finish.
But it is a women's rights issue, but what he's doing, here's what he's doing. So the confusion that he's trying to sow with the gaslighting, yes, we can get a professional on his stage who's in psychiatry on the stage.
I'm a professional, goddammit.
Right. So listen, the point of the matter, there's more than, and this is what these Senate hearings are often about. It's not just a conversation behind closed doors. There's also America listening. So when he gaslighting so doubt, because normally gaslighting happens between me and you.
With all due respect, Wes, we're not talking about gaslighting no more.
I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. There's an audience out there, and he's gaslighting for the audience to so down to your question. When he says, so we aren't talking about women's rights, he's talking about the point of him asking that is to sow doubt in the minds of everybody. She knows exactly what she's talking about, and he knows that she knows that he knows exactly. That is all to confuse and to manipulate.
That's
through gaslight. The witnesses of this.
It's either
watching this thing.
It's either a women's rights issue or it's not. It's that simple. Are we talking about women's rights? Let me.
He's saying this. That's
she
like
didn't
saying,
answer. She did not answer.
Let me answer that for him. Let me answer that for him, Wes. So what it is it's a women's right thing, but the fact is it's trying to get away from identifying other people who are not naturally born as a woman as women. So transgender people who recognize themselves as women, they're to be considered as women. There's no need for the transgenderism anymore. So it's a women's right issue because if you identify as a woman, that's the only thing that matters.
No, but Robert, what about the non-binary who don't recognize themselves as a transgender but still need these abortion rights? That's what the professor's trying to emphasize, saying it needs to be all inclusive. This is where Wes's argument is saying all inclusive. It's not. It needs, the law needs to include people who don't recognize themselves as women as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's not just transgender men who don't recognize themselves as women. It's not just non-binary women who no longer calls themselves women, and it's not just women. It's all three of those.
Right.
And if we call it a women's rights issue, we just excluded two of them.
And so she said right, and her point was,
you excluded the trans. No. Listen. If I identify as a trans man, you exclude me.
Right. Which is why the point of the matter is her point is to use people with the capacity for pregnancy, which is why I said the one thing that we can all agree, people. And so the people who have the capacity for pregnancy, who can get pregnant, that we're talking about, those are the people that the laws or whatever protects.
And that's in West. That's why his question. That's why his question was. So
valid.
It's not a women's right issue.
That's why the question is valid.
She answered it brilliantly. We can ignite. It can be a women's rights issue, and it can be inclusive. I can't remember what she said.
Then
verbatim,
you can be included and labeled as a woman then.
But I don't.
Or not.
I don't have the capacity for it. But it doesn't.
Or
apply
not.
If I, so
yeah, it doesn't apply like Shahid. It doesn't apply to you if you don't recognize yourself as a woman, but you still need the law to protect you because you can get pregnant. So I get I get this part. Although I don't agree with it, I get this part. I just don't agree with the gaslighting part. But we can move forward because now we're gonna get into the violence talk, right? So listen, guys. Just the net of it is this. She's basically saying, don't call it a women's issue. It's a people's issue. And he was basically, before she stepped on him, getting ready to say, it's not a women's issue, you're saying, right? It's a people's issue. And she was like, listen, we could recognize that not only motherfuckers that call themselves women, people that don't call themselves women also can get pregnant. We need to have everybody included up under this new law that's coming, right? That's what she's basically trying to say. But then here comes the fight between the two.
Are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow.
Defend that, Wes.
That's a diversion.
I want Wes to defend that.
So first of all, it's not a diversion. She's continuing on with the conversation. Here's the point of it. Let's talk about black people with certain incendiary language, for instance, that Trump uses at a rally on Asian people because it had.
We ain't talking about Trump.
You're missing the point.
Use this.
You're making a point. I'm making.
Make your point with this.
Me to show you, I'm trying to show the exact same thing that happens with Asian people.
I don't care about Asian people. I don't care about Trump. Use this.
I don't care about the answer.
No, I care about the truth.
Get to the point.
Wait.
Wes,
God damn,
you doing what women do.
Wow.
Wes, answer.
Deflecting like a mug.
This. I don't want to hear Donald Trump's name. I don't want to hear Obama's name. I don't want to hear Shannon's name. Let's not use anybody else except for these two people that we're playing on the video. Show me where he's using violence, inciting violence.
That is, you're missing the point because that is the dumbest way. No argument gets court cases.
I don't miss points. I don't do that.
Refer to other court cases.
But you don't have to though.
You have. Come on, man. That ain't
so
how
Wes, this one simple
then that means that you can't argue your point without using other.
Exactly.
If you can't argue, if you cannot discuss and argue, and if you cannot emphasize, argue, and point out where you're trying to come from based on the language that we just heard from these two people, then you need help. You need help and assistance of other examples and other people and how other people talked and shit. Then you have a very weak argument.
They use court cases and other incidents.
I don't want to set precedent. I don't need you to set precedents on anything else before. Tell me where. Tell me where.
It's very simple. What the fuck it is. If you denying that trans people haven't been attacked, haven't been world because
Wes, nobody. No, that's not. No,
trans people have absolutely been murdered. Are you going to
deny
the people?
They have, yes.
Okay, so here's this, and I know you guys don't want to hear an example.
But see, this is the problem, Rob.
No. Let's give it to Robert.
You guys are missing what he's saying. If somebody says, you know what, I'll pull up and I'll drop the bag on you, y'all know what that means.
What?
Y'all know that there's some violence that follows that. It's not a violent statement that I'm gonna drop the bag, but you know what's coming.
What does that have
Right.
to do with what he said?
But so what he said,
has
what he
to
was
do
saying
with
is
that.
not. It might not be a violent statement in the context of the conversation, but it can still
Okay.
lead to violence elsewhere.
Oh
Okay.
my
So
God.
let's do it like this. Wes,
Oh,
I like to
oh my God.
dialogue with Robert because Robert seems to be a little bit more level-headed tonight. So
Oh my
Robert
God.
is on your side. Robert is on your side, Wes. Robert is your counsel. Robert is your counsel. Okay, he's your attorney tonight. All right, and so we'd like to speak to the attorney because your ass is a defendant that's just pissed, and we're gonna put a muzzle on you in this courtroom. So, goddamn, uh, uh, Colin, can you back up the video a little bit?
Oh
And
yeah.
I like Colin's cool, calm, and collective way of discussing this to please explain to us what Wes is trying to say.
I don't know what the hell is Wes is trying to say.
But Colin's gonna help
Hit
us
me,
out.
Robert.
Hold on.
Is that the core of this right then is about what?
A little further. Let us walk into it. Let's back it up a little further.
Recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
All right, let me go back.
Oh, that's
As
good
well
right
as
there.
Non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so
All right, here we go.
Your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm
Okay. Now, I'm gonna back this up just a little bit, Robert, because I want you to hear what the senator says, and I'm gonna pause it. Okay, just check it
Line
out.
of questioning women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups.
Okay.
Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Okay, here we go. Now, Robert, this is where what he's getting ready to ask her right now is where she is saying it's inciting some sort of violence. I'm gonna play what he asked, and I'm gonna pause it, and I want you to break it down for us.
Your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So your view is that the core of this is about what?
Let me hear.
Tell me how that.
Let
Show
me
me.
hear.
Explain to us the violence in that.
Let me hear. Can we hear her response so you can get the full thing? Give me her
Well,
response.
her response was, okay, just
Transphobic and
for
violent.
context, I'll play it.
Yeah, give me
Her response was basically saying you're being violent. That was a violent
no,
question, but I'll let you
I
hear
get
it
No,
from her.
I get that. That wasn't her response. That's why I'm asking you.
That wasn't her
I'll
response.
let you hear it from her. I will let you hear it from her.
Okay.
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic.
Okay.
There.
What she said is, I want you to
No,
recognize
wait.
that your line of questioning.
She says by you not recognizing you. Just
Wes, let your attorney speak, please.
What she said is that your line of questioning. It's not just that question that he asked. It's the line of questioning and where it was being led to. That's the part to where it's like, well, what you're doing is you're getting to the point to where possibly to me it's kind of a stretch. It's a far reach, right? That's my opinion, but possibly
Yeah.
it could lead to something where it can end up resulting in violence towards somebody else. Your line of questioning, it's not just about that one question that we're focusing on. It's about the questions and the way that they're lining up. And like having the knowledge of that senator and his alignment with certain beliefs is part of how he can incite someone without actually inciting, without actually using
I look at it.
words.
I look at it
Yeah,
as he's seeking to understand, because when I watched the video, I wanted to know that also.
I get
So
that.
it's just like, are you trying to say that?
That's when I first watched it without the context of who he is, that's my understanding too. Like I agree, like man, it just sounds like he was just trying to get a good understanding. And people on the LGBTQ plus side of things, to me, tend to have an overreaction when sometimes people are really genuinely trying to get an understanding. It sounds insulting to them because they're coming to them with ignorance about the whole thing. So they feel like they're being attacked.
So
But
do
it's
you
not
see in the reverse that she was actually the one gaslighting and not him?
no. And
We wasn't talking to you, Wes. We're talking to Robert.
with my
No,
attorney for one moment.
nope. We'd like to hear from Robert, please.
to
Robert,
answer that. To answer
There's
that,
one thing that my attorneys missed.
Robert,
One thing
Robert, go ahead, Robert. Robert, go ahead. We're all ears, Robert.
She said,
Robert.
so
We
real
have to
quick, to
mute him.
answer Collins, and then we can let Wes go. To answer Collins, I believe that the gaslighting was a misunderstanding or a misinterpretation of what they were saying to each other. So they ended up, it may have been gaslighting on both sides because they both ended up.
No. It wasn't on both sides.
It was, knowing the senator, it's on both sides.
His line of questioning was to seek to understand, to make sure he understood what she was saying. She proceeded to gaslight by saying, "Oh, your comments are transphobic and inciting violence, and now these people are invisible."
And in turn, like
that's
I said,
gaslighting.
and in turn, like I said, he received that as gaslighting him. Like I said, the communication, there was a breakdown in communication and a misunderstanding in there. His line of questioning may have been to give the audience an understanding as to what she's talking about. It may not have even been for himself. However, she took it as gaslighting, and her response gave him his gaslight too.
So counsel, do you believe that his line of questioning was transphobic? The fear of transgender
there's
people.
nothing in his line of questionings that would have suggested that it is a transphobic line of questioning. Not just listening to it conversationally. It sounds like a line of questionings that, to me, it sounds like a line of questioning trying to get an understanding. But then you have to consider where the source is coming from.
Okay, considering who he is and his track record and his past and all his campaigns and the crazy shit he says and him high-fiving Trump and all his past and knowing all of that, do you see that it's still any kind of transphobia in his line of questioning?
It's hard for me to answer that because looking at it from my lens, I didn't hear it. Like if I heard him asking me those questions, I would not have heard it as being any type of phobia.
Do you mind, counsel, if we were to ask Wes the same question?
Yes, Wes, you can please answer. Let me whisper in your ear.
Wes, the senator asked a simple question, and I'd like to know if you can explain to us where the transphobia is in the line of questioning. I'm only going to go back to one. I'm only go back to his most recent question, but you can include everything he said from the very beginning. Show me the transphobia in this. I'm going to hit the play button right now.
This right then is about what?
Wait, hold on.
Before you hit play.
Yes, sir.
Let me formulate this. You know how you can, like, if you're having a conversation with a kid and you know they already know the answer and you know they already know they're in trouble, but you can have a whole conversation with them and lead them around to where they end up finding themselves in trouble. The line of questioning, while it doesn't at the forefront like seem like that's what it's doing, that is sort of what it's doing, and that's sort of what the point is it's not out front. So like in California, I'm gonna use this example.
It's chess. He's playing chess.
He's
not
playing
checkers.
chess. Yeah. So
okay, I agree with that.
It's just not out front. Like we agreed that prejudices and racism are different in Georgia versus California. California, you ain't gonna see it, but it's there.
Right. You don't got to call me a nigga. You call me a boy. Hey boy. Hey boy. Get over here, boy. You might as well call me a nigga. I get what you're saying. We smart. We there. I just want to be clear though, because this is a Senate hearing. This ain't at the bar downtown and shit. So hear me out. All right, just real quick.
Recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive.
Okay, so Wes, since your counsel has allowed you to put you on the witness stand, I want to play this clip. Tell me where the transphobia is.
Your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
Sir?
Oh, so but I can just I don't have to hear it clearly in order to know. It's the line of questioning, and there's one other part that Rob didn't speak to that she said here. His line of questioning is leading to is the existence of trans people, and so she even threw off that it's your line of question is transphobic, but I can't remember her words exactly if you played them, and then he cut her off. But her point was going to be by the existence of trans people. Now, the way that he didn't acknowledge it is because when in the question of this, is this a woman's issue? And she responds that, but it also affects other groups. That questioning that he was going down is, and to your point, Shan, he already knows the answers to this. He already heard her answers before. They are well versed in who they have in front of them. The point of that is, was basically to make other people, the audience listening, us at home, two people in that conversation, there's the audience witnessing all of this, that they are both very senators going grandstand to make their super PACs and everybody happy, and that's not necessarily legitimate questions, but they ask them to show their super PACs or their
I got you, boss. I got you. I'm asking you a direct, simple question. Please explain to us.
The line of questioning.
No, please, no. Hear me out. Let me finish it. I know you could. I know you think you could finish my sentence, but let me finish it. Give me the. Can you tell us where it's transphobic? Transphobic.
Yes, transphobic. The definition. That's first we got to clarify. Transphobia is
the fear of transgender people.
No. The transphobia is dislike of or against transsexual or transgender fear. Don't let the phobia get you. That's not the definition that you're afraid of. No.
All right, we have the definition.
Right. So, or prejudice.
The
fact of the matter is that line of questioning that we've heard before, that leads to people. The end of that line of questioning is basically first of all, it's a questioning of someone who doesn't believe this, but here they are. You don't get to tell someone whether or not they exist or not. It's a matter, and then people say, "Well, all lives matter."
Okay, so Wes, to sum it up,
are the one denying the fact that black lives
Wes, real quick,
in harm's way.
Are you saying that by saying it doesn't exist that we're transphobic?
I need you to turn your mic down to -12 decibels.
For me?
Yes.
I'm gonna just unplug it.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that better?
That line of questioning, by saying they don't exist, by anything that leads to a prejudice against that group.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that they don't exist.
But that line of questioning, she just wants to recognize. Just like if I was on that stage and we was talking about, and I hear something that I know I've heard before, and I've heard some gaslighting, and I hear some
recognizing that it impacts others.
You absolutely West of the Senate be like, excuse me, Senator, I just want to recognize my nigga behind me. That what the questioning the line of question, I'm gonna answer your question going down is black phobic. The line of questioning you're going down is
but it's not. So the definition is discrimination, harassment, or bullying, and that him asking a question is not discriminatory, it's not harassment, and it's not bullying.
But the questioning, what Wes is saying is that the questioning is leading towards not being willing to acknowledge the existence. Not saying that you don't believe in them, not outwardly saying it, but just like saying you're a ghost. You're not there. I'm not even saying.
Here's the thing, though. Just see. Here's the thing that I'm going to address. I still don't have to agree with that.
You don't have to.
Hold on, Wes. Wes, you have had 45 hours to talk.
Go ahead, bro.
No. He's had 47.
Sorry, my bad. So here's the thing. Are you? Let me ask you a question. Are you afraid of me talking, Wes?
Of course not.
Do you have a phobia of me talking? Is that why you keep speaking over me?
I have a phobia for bullshit. But continue.
No, but that's not the question that I asked. Answer the question. Do you have a phobia of me talking?
I'm gaslighting.
He answered. He said no.
No, but see, I don't. But here's the thing. I don't feel attacked, And so you don't see me go. You see your line of questioning is stopping me from talking.
Because it doesn't.
That's the thing. Some people who feel attacked are the first persons to say, "Oh, you gaslighting. Oh, you're transphobic just because you don't agree with me." I ain't gotta agree with you because Wes said. Now let me pull it back up. Wes said, "Where my sticky note at?" Because hold on. Hold on.
He taking
Chris
notes.
over here cheating using sticky
Well,
notes,
ladies and gentlemen,
making it seem like I'm the only one.
He got the Post-it notes out.
well, ladies and gentlemen, it took us the whole show, and we still didn't get anything accomplished. So that wraps
Wes
up this
said,
episode.
in the interest of fairness, one should never press upon their own interests or faiths or preferences. So here's the thing: just because that's your preference doesn't mean it's mine. And I'm not transphobic because I don't want to acknowledge it.
The conversation
I don't have to agree with it or acknowledge it. You may think that way. Hold on, Rob. It's not transphobic for me to disagree with you, nor is it transphobic for me to ask you to clarify what you mean so that I can understand.
So you
it's
mentioned
called having an
said,
opinion, and those are being stripped away slowly.
Can I go real quick? Because it's.
Oh, go ahead. But I do want to address that, Chris, because my mic.
Go ahead, but I do want to address. Which is it? Which is it? What is?
Let me get it, because it's not about transphobia. It's not about. What it's about is about, are we willing to go ahead and create laws that include people that we may not even agree with their choices?
Yes.
Not choices that are actually out there hurting people. It's not about whether they're projecting their sexuality onto anybody. It's about, are we going to do anything to protect those people whenever they need a doctor, whenever they need a lawyer, whenever they need funding? It should all be based equally. And that's the question. It's not whether or not you agree with it. It's, are you willing to address the issue, even if you don't agree with it, that, hey, they still need to be protected.
Robert,
what you're saying is
it's still not transphobic for me to ask for clarification.
But that's not the conversation. The conversation isn't about
that was the conversation, Rob.
That wasn't the reason for the Senate hearing. That wasn't the reason for the Senate hearing. So
no, we can't because that's the premise of her conversation. But before anybody, Wes, pause. Before anybody else speaks, I want to welcome Lisa to the conversation. Welcome back, Lisa. We thank you so much for joining the conversation. Lisa, can you hear me clearly?
Wait, Chris, we still trying to
verify.
I just want to bring her on.
Yeah, but I don't.
We still got to verify that's her.
It's the same girl from last week.
Boy, if you don't let us do it.
Yeah, you get your whole channel snatched. I do this every day.
So let me say this really quick. Address that quick to what I said. So, Chris, you're adding on what I said. We shouldn't press upon anyone else. But now we're talking about, and this is the whole thing.
You're pressing on me that I'm transphobic because I don't acknowledge him.
Because you're willing to ignore and say, I'm not going to.
But you're pressing on Senator Hawley, saying that he's transphobic because he's not acknowledging them. You're pressing an idea.
Hold on, Wes, because he is saying exactly the thing. Because you are not acknowledging me. You're pretending that I'm a freaking ghost. You're pretending that I'm not even here.
No.
If you not acknowledge somebody, you're pretending that they are not there. You're ignoring them, and that is the point. And you're using it in your own words right now, but instead of thinking about what you're saying,
I'm not ignoring them.
If you're not acknowledging them, you are ignoring them.
So if you don't acknowledge them, they don't exist. So here's the point.
That is how can that be true?
Listen, I'm going to address what you said to me. What you said about my work is very, very clear. The whole point of her conversation with Senator Hunt, and the whole point of my conversation about that whole thing is about this. And anyone to believe anybody's particular beliefs. Shahid is Christian. Colin isn't trying to force Shahid to be Muslim, nor is Colin to be Christian. The point is that when we talk about the legality of the law, we have to make sure we use language that will protect Christians equally as Muslims in any other creed, color, sexual orientation, or gender. her identity. Point where
That's a false parallel, Wes.
the most, but that is the
I don't acknowledge
I said
Allah as my
we're
God.
using
Does that mean he doesn't exist to Shahid?
the most.
Let me ask you, Shahid.
Wait, I'm
If I
still
don't
talking. The
acknowledge
most
Allah as my
That's
important
God,
not,
does he
word
but you're
not
missing
exist to
it.
you?
I
You're
said
missing it,
is
Chris. If you're gonna
No,
truthfulness.
ask
I'm
the
asking
question,
Shahid.
if you're gonna
Does,
ask
And
the
does
so
question,
if we're
Ali
ask it
talking
does
right.
Allah not
about
exist?
using
The
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 word
point
Shahid?
is
that
what
are
you're
most
missing is that
inclusivity,
Shahid says that he believes in
people
Allah, but you say
with
I
the
don't recognize you, Shahid, because you believe in Allah. That's the point. I don't see you, Shahid, because you believe in Allah. I don't
No,
recognize
that's
your
not what
rights
I'm saying.
because you're
That's not what I'm
homosexual.
saying.
That's
That's not
not
what I'm
what you're
saying at
saying,
all.
but that's what you're
I'm
missing.
not Muslim
That's what
I
you're
don't have
missing.
Muslim phobia.
Uh,
But
I get that.
everybody's making a false parallel because at no point did he not acknowledge any group of people. Just because
And
I don't,
that's exactly where I was going. I never said that I don't acknowledge Muslims. That was my point. But anyway, welcome to Ask a Black Man Anything. Lisa, can you hear me?
you're muted.
I see your
Yeah, I
your
see her
sound
audio,
going,
but we don't hear you.
but we don't hear you.
Yeah, she's
And
on.
let me say this while we get Lisa's audio correct. When it is always a misnomer that when men have passionate dialogue that we're arguing, we're going to go back and laugh and joke and have a great time later on tonight or tomorrow, and we're not arguing. Please, if you are listening to this conversation now or in the future, and Lisa, whenever you can hear me, just say something, okay? We're not arguing in the sense of we're combative, we don't like, we're going back and forth. Now we're having a discussion. This is literally how men discuss things and how men should solve their problems, just by talking to each other. Whether or not it's with passion, that's perfectly fine. I just don't want anyone to think that we are in a vehement disagreement, right? He may be passionate, he may be vehemently disagreeing, but it's not like, we're going to be at odds or at war. So I just want to say that, because typically that's something that has happened in the past. Is she back with us, or did we?
So I stepped away for just a quick minute. So are we now saying that if I don't mention someone, I'm not acknowledging them?
That's exactly what they said. If you don't accept them, if you don't accept them, then you're saying that
No,
they're not there.
I'm not even saying to acknowledge. Like if I'm having a conversation and I just don't mention them, does that mean I don't acknowledge them, their existence?
No.
Right.
I can explain.
So how, like, where's this idea of not acknowledging coming from? It's like this.
Lisa,
It's,
can you hear me?
It's not even that the senator didn't acknowledge them. The senator was just trying to get clarification on the topic of the discussion,
that's
and
my
whether he
point.
was trying to do it for himself, which we know he wasn't, or whether he was doing it for his constituents who didn't get it, which is the purpose of hearings being fucking live on C-SPAN, is the point. The point is, it doesn't matter if he wanted the clarification. He just wanted to say, is this a women's issues right for my people, not for me, for everybody that's watching? Is it women's issues or is it people's issues? That's all I want to know. Well, it got to the point where
But
this
you
is being
said,
transphobic. And it's like, God damn, transphobia. Well, like, what are you talking about?
yeah, but you said you acknowledge yourself that he understands the whole. He understands what's going on. Doesn't even
but Wes,
Yes,
can
but
we?
this is the legislature. It's never about an individual senator or an individual person recognizing something. It's about somebody representing a larger body.
we know.
Can we
So it
just
doesn't matter if he himself personally understood it. It matters that of the people that he represents understood it. So oftentimes, that's why with these Senate hearings, motherfuckers ask the same shit over and over again, because some people come in late. Some people need to hear it 3 times. Some people don't get it when one person say it, but somebody else say the same thing and they get it. It doesn't matter. The point is, like you said, they answer the question over and over again, but she goes to the point where she's saying that this is leading into transphobia, and it's not. It's a senator. It's a Senate hearing.
Can we just, for the sake of Ask a Black Man, for this stage right here, can we just eliminate the idea of Senator Hawley. Replace
Right.
him with
Right.
me, whoever. Can we eliminate the how many times I don't care if he asked the question 100 million times, because that's where the emotions are flaring up and taking us off track.
Exactly. Remove the messenger.
Yeah. Like, so what about Senator Hawley? I don't know. I've never heard Senator Hawley speak until today.
Correct.
Exactly. We already went around this mountain. The who, and I'll use the example one more. But we all know what racist whistles can sound like. Conversations when they start to come from Trump rally or somewhere else.
You're still implying that. You're
simply his line.
You know what's crazy? He on his phone and his audio is still bad.
You're imposing. You still imposing this ideology, Wes. I'm asking.
Planet Tatooine.
Right, but and here's the thing that I keep saying, Shaheed. I keep saying exactly what you're saying. You're taking your own thoughts and you're trying to impose it on us as if it's law.
No.
Right?
No.
Wait. Hold on, Wes. Hold on. Wes, please hold on.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying.
Hold on, Wes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shaheed. Let me let you go because I confused it.
I'm not saying Wes is presupposing his position on us. What I'm saying is he's presupposing this whole idea, this Trump pro-right ideology into the conversation based on Senator Hawley. I'm asking to remove all of that out. Remove that out. Remove the fact that he asked that question out already. Let's just take the video as it is. Replace that person in the video with me, with anybody.
With your favorite person.
Yeah. That's all I'm asking.
But context matters. I mean, in the conversation, so it matters.
We're never going to get it.
He'll never see it because his mind is wrapped around the fact that it'll be this way.
We're never going to make any progression in this thing.
Rob, we just went around and acknowledged it. The bottom line, you went out. I'm going to clip it later and play it back. They said that it matters who. After you acknowledge that it does matter who said. Context matters. Who that person is.
Wes, your audio is still messed up.
Someone asking that question.
Well, if that's the case,
is the audio messed up for anybody else?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It doesn't matter.
So here's the thing. So the thing about I get what Wes is saying. Wes is saying we cannot remove him from the conversation because of who he is. Because if we were to put in fucking Dianne Feinstein from California, Wes is saying he would think that would be a valid question because that's the homie, right? The problem that I'm having with what Wes is saying is his video response on his Love 911 show had nothing about the fact that Senator Halsey was the bad person, this big bad wolf that said it. He was responding based on the context of the words. And that's what Shaheed is trying to do. Shaheed is trying to say, well, let's talk about just the words, exactly like Wes brought up in his 911 response. And now Wes don't want to do that.
Wes, Wes, we are all, before we even met each other, we all had our own platform. So we know what the responsibility is of having a platform and delivering a message to a group of people. Last night, when you got on there, you didn't come on and say, hey, you guys, you should take this with a grain of salt because Senator Hawley is a this, and that. You didn't say that.
Exactly. So here's the point. Listen, look at how long this, you have limited time for whatever, so you're a relevant audience. Just like, so the point of the matter is that I'm going to reference him because I know who he is.
You didn't though, Wes.
And you have unlimited time. You had unlimited time, Wes, and you didn't mention him.
You didn't address him.
Wait, hold on. Wait. So
we at your 50th hour, Wes.
I'm not going to go through backstory of who Senator Hawley is and answers.
Also, context don't matter when it comes to you. You didn't want to use context. You just said, I'm not going to go through his backstory, so you're not going to give your viewers context? You're the hallmark of context. That's all you've been saying all night. Context matters. Context. You got to know the backstory. You got to understand. And now you're saying, when I talk on my show, I don't want to give niggas context. I'm going to let niggas.
The bottom line, if I'm going to talk about it,
Wes, it's okay to say that you're wrong on this one. It wasn't transphobic.
The message was greater than that. It was about most inclusive. So that is what I language and the parts that was going to affect most. It was shit about him being transphobic or not. Stop. And to Chris, to your point is, yeah, don't impose anything. Talk about laws. You have to use laws.
I'm not saying laws.
As wide of a swath of people so that they have equal protection constitution. Now,
that's one of my point.
Already know you said you don't think everybody should have said it on tape. It is it. This is not about.
Hey Lisa, can you hear me?
Wes, your audio is poor.
It's trash. Super trash. Lisa, you are I see that you're speaking, but I don't see that you're speaking. I don't hear you.
I'm gonna move around.
There you go, right there. Nah, keep it right there.
Wait, I'm in the.
Oh, you already messed it up.
Yeah, but you might need to unmute your audio. Oh, do that again, Lisa. You can come on camera. We don't bite.
Yeah, she could put the camera to the ceiling.
Hey, stop playing, Lisa.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's completely not transphobic to ask a question, to
I
put words in a sentence.
I feel like that was a gaslighting statement to call him transphobic and say that he was enticing violence. I think that was more gaslighting than anything.
Now, here's what was gaslighting. He said, "Is this how you run your classroom?" That's gaslighting. That's gaslighting. Oh, I might learn a lot. Gaslighting.
What happened? We got too many people with bad audio tonight. Like, so yeah, man.
Bad audio. Oh,
3 of them.
You talking about Lisa, Rob, and Wes? Yeah, we over time tonight.
Yeah, we might have to break this up part 2. Yeah, you good?
Wes, you're gonna have to come back next week.
I'm enjoying the conversation. But it's just like for me, man, what I'm hearing is when the other side gets held to a certain position, they have to build up all this rhetoric and all these other points instead of addressing the core issue that's at hand. Like how I haven't heard yet how he was being transphobic or how his line of questioning incites violence. Like we have substantial evidence and information provided to us in this video where if it was me, that I would not have to go outside of this video to substantiate a point that I'm making. But it's just like, even with her, when she could not substantiate his question and answer his question directly, she diverted and started calling him transphobic and said he was enticing. This line of questioning entices violence. That's crazy to me. That you don't have to stand on. You don't have to stand on what your point is or what you're trying to bring forth, and you could go off and say, "Oh, you're that's transphobic," and that line of questioning entices violence. So I would like
that's what the left does.
I would like somebody to at least try.
The perfect.
Hold on, Wes. Just hear me out, Wes. I want to do an experiment. I would like somebody from the moment he asked his question I would like someone to give me step-by-step examples all the way to the point where a trans person is a victim of violence. Can you build that up for me?
They won't be able to do that, Shahid. Nobody can do that. They won't. That's unattainable.
But they're claiming.
Huh?
They're claiming it is.
They won't. But what you're gonna hear is a whole lot of rhetoric at that point.
Right.
You're gonna hear about a bunch of You're gonna hear a bunch of history and shit. You're gonna hear a bunch of who the fuck this is. You're gonna hear a bunch of conjecture. You ain't gonna hear nobody be able to answer that. You could ask that as direct and as quick and swift as possible. You will not get a swift, quick, and direct answer. They won't, because you can't.
There is no way to do that. There's no way to give us.
So how can you make a statement? How can you make a statement in
a certain neighborhood that you know
politics
that lead to an action?
Welcome to politics.
Can lead to an action, but somebody who doesn't know, they can't put that. It's just the same thing. Like it's
wait. So Rob, are you saying Rob that people that are transphobic or trans or whatever are subject to violence because of what another person says, not because of that individual's personal decisions or actions?
Yeah.
No, Chris. Let's not act like that's not true. That is very true. Someone can
that's true. You can be
victim of. You can be a victim of, just like Trump incited the riot.
January 6th. Yeah,
that's
right. But what I'm asking is it just because he said? Is there,
Yes,
I don't, they're not there?
No, I hear what you're trying to go, Chris. It's more so he just asked a question.
Right. And I'm not even at the, so is the fact that I said it or the fact that I asked a question, which is it? Right. But I mean, I think we've went on the merry-go-round enough on this one. Right.
Yeah.
Wes, do you feel that? Do you feel heard? You feel heard?
Wes.
How you in? On your debut, Wes, you should not be in the car. You have perfect audio, perfect video,
and he's a film director. I don't like it when techies ain't techie.
Can you hear me?
Techies is supposed to be techie.
No, Wes. The question is, do you feel heard?
But can you hear me?
Do you feel heard, Wes?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Or do you feel invisible?
If I don't feel heard, are you going to listen to me?
Because I don't want you to think we're not Westphobic.
No, because you got your own platform for that.
I don't know. I might be Westphobic. I don't want Wes on the show next week.
I don't want you to think we Westphobic.
Matter of fact, let's go ahead and move him out the group chat.
Westphobic.
I'm going to say this. I do appreciate us even having the discussion. I agree with you, Chris. We all, for people, this is how men oftentimes, this is how we engage. Sometimes it's sweet and nice, pretty, and other times it's ugly, it's passionate. There might be some expletives, but we as men, we understand that, and we know how to engage, and we know also how to still unite after that. I do appreciate you guys even having a conversation. I appreciate the challenges. The whole nine. The whole nine. I did.
And Wes, I'll say this to where you can understand me. I'm gonna talk your language. I
want me to keep talking?
So,
Colin, that's gaslighting. That's gaslighting.
And one more thing.
that really will entice violence.
That's gaslighting.
See, I write them off. My bad.
The facts. Listen, so ladies and gentlemen, we actually did not have time to get to our questions. We don't want to be here 4 hours like we started. I think that man, we definitely doused the fire with this particular one. And I am proud to say that I'm amongst some of the finest gentlemen in the land that can talk about the difficult things, even if you can't hear them because their audio's messed up. they still using AOL dollar. Matter of fact, I don't even think that's AOL. AOL was pretty good. AOL dollar was pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
Right, Chris, he ain't using AOL. He's using SOL. He's using SOL.
And you know what's funny? You know what's really funny about this whole thing? We do this every.
It took the whole show to get nothing accomplished.
No. Listen, what's worse is that we do this every week. Every week, Wes, as if you don't know that Thursday is coming.
Hey, man,
Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific is coming every week. Every week.
Hey, man, I can't.
And Wes, we want you to be, sir, hold on. We want you to be all loving and be caring and be empathetic. Wes, we need your audio. I don't understand how your audio just don't work.
Wes,
same with Robert. Same with Robert.
Wes and Robert, go to your local Starbucks and just set up there before the show.
It is a $50 investment.
They probably got better Wi-Fi than y'all. Go to Starbucks.
Now Wes got the equipment because he got a
Robert is moving to LA, so he's got an excuse this week and last week.
Wes got a Rodecaster Pro with a Rode mic and all the bells and whistles for that. He got the MacBook Pro. He got an iMac. He got the equipment. He won't go upgrade his damn internet connection.
No,
that is a phone call to the local internet, whoever he has, and say, take me to the next level or give me a new modem because this one ain't doing it.
Wes,
but he won't do that.
Wes, I run virtual events. I have to get fiber, because I'm hosting these events. So it's like connection is the utmost important. So get you some fiber, brother.
Right.
My download speed is 900 megabytes per second.
Wes got Uverse. I know he got Uverse. That nigga got Uverse, 6 megabits max.
That is hilarious.
You got to switch to fucking to Time Warner and get you 200 megabits.
Yo, you know what's really crazy, Shan? When we first started, I had Uverse and I was at 25 megabytes per second.
But out here in LA, Uverse is giving niggas 6. And so, and that's why they're coming with, because it hops back and forth out here in LA. First, it was Uverse. They was the fastest and it was good for a long time. And then came Time Warner. And then Time Warner jumped past them. But a lot of people still stuck with the Uverse, which I know Wes is probably on. And now Time Warner's coming with fiber and throughout the land. So when fiber gets here, we're all going to be at 1 gigabyte. But for the video, and look, Uverse is fine for email and shit and checking Facebook and whatnot. It's good for fucking Clubhouse where it's audio only. But if you camming up, you gotta switch up. You gotta go to 200 megabits. That's just a fact because the upload speed needs to be 8 megabits minimum. Uverse only gives 1.5 up, 6 down. So you gotta update. And then when it comes to Robert got the internet connection, but he won't buy a mic. He came with that AKG that he first started off with last year. I don't know what happened to that mic. That mic's gone, but whatever happened, he sounded like he was a 10-man. Yeah, but where's the mic? At least come back with the 10-man mic because now we don't hear him at all. And
Robert used to broadcast outside.
Oh, man.
Yeah. $50 investment, and we hear that's the perfect point, Chris. We hear Thursday's coming, and Amazon Prime delivers in 1 day.
What they need,
and you know what else is crazy? Thursday comes at the same time every week.
Hey Wes, what you need
never change.
Wes, you and Rob, what y'all need to do is y'all need to identify as members of the empire, and you receive the benefits. Just identify as Empire members.
That's all you got to do, and then the Force will be with you.
Hey, you know what's really crazy? Shaheed said, "If I identify as a dog."
What? Then what? Like what?
Hey, so listen, let me tell you why that's crazy, right? So I was listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show one day, and on the Steve Harvey Morning Show, it was a lady that said she was dealing with this dude that asked
we didn't call Robert back. We didn't manifest Robert.
asked her to he was like walking on all fours, and she like put a leash on him and walked outside, and he pooped. I'm like, dude identifies as a dog right now. Like, that's legit. And I thought of that scenario. I was like, oh my God, that is so wild.
It's a community of people that identify as animals. And you're gonna have to start accepting them as, I don't know what they're gonna want to. But
I mean, it's funny because South Park came out with that episode years ago, 6-7 years ago, where it's like people were getting like animal chained or whatever to turn themselves into dolphins and animals. So they saw it coming.
South Park been prophesying.
Exactly. They've been prophesying for a minute.
Now this nigga audio good.
I'll close on this, man. We all have our levels of weird and abnormal. My level of weird and abnormal is, I won't even get into detail, but it's this, right? And some people, that's completely normal to them. And now it just keeps going further and further away from just what we deem as natural. And it's just like, so how can somebody say, when I say, if I just wake up and say I identify as a dog, how can you call that weird?
So I'll say this. Yeah, society is getting further and further away from just reality. And that's why I say it's clown world. And I've noticed that the more crazy the world gets, the more closed off I become. Like I like have to force myself outdoors now because it's just getting ridiculous. But like I said, I mean, the Bible talks about all these things happening because it's just once again the devil reversing everything. So when you open the Pandora's box on one little thing, then it just spreads into so many other things, and it's gonna get so complicated that who knows when they're gonna be in violation of something, because there's gonna be so many layers and so many parameters on this and this and this, and then your freedoms are gonna be stripped away. It's just like you can't even have an opinion today because that's deemed as gaslighting, or you're this person or you're this phobic, and it's just like, no, this is just my opinion. Nobody is wrong anymore. Nobody can be confronted anymore. So yeah, it's interesting, borderline scary times we're living in now. But one thing I'm never gonna compromise is my biology. I know who I am. I'm always gonna stand firm in that. You ain't gonna come to me with that BS, and you ain't gonna push me into being something I'm not. So come at me with that BS, you're gonna be met with some realness.
I'm gonna say that I want Robert to go buy him a Shure MV88 microphone at $149.99 plus tax and shipping, and we will never have an audio problem from Robert again.
He just moved to LA, so that's a big undertaking. So he might not be in position for that.
You need me to? Do you need me? I'll buy it for you, Rob. You want me to purchase you one?
There we go.
You know what? You know what's crazy? That's your
cake.
answer, because
the icing on the cake.
We can't even hear him.
Oh my God!
You can't make this stuff up.
Matter of fact, let me say this, Shaheed. Thank you for having your audio together. I don't know where your microphone is, Bob Barker, but please bring it back, please.
What, was I clear tonight?
That doesn't matter. I'm just saying I don't know where it is.
Okay. It's being repaired right now.
Fantastic. To Jerron and DB, we'll see. Hopefully, we see you guys next week. If not, cue music.
Yeah, and I thought Daryl was pulling up, man. Daryl has shared it on his page, on Instagram, and the whole. I was like, oh, tonight I get to hang out with Daryl. He ain't even here. I know Jerron is at church, and that's cool. But where's D? It's all good, man. All right, bros.
I'm gonna take
guys are off.
a Thursday off.
Now, I want to before we end, I want to be clear from what I said. I respect everybody's opinion, but that's why I said, but don't come at me with the gaslighting. That's all. I'll end it. Peace.
Wait, who?
I respect your decision to live however you want to live, but that's not for my household. Just so you know.
Exactly.
So who?
And the funny thing is, Wes, I'll tell you this, Wes, is that I actually am dealing with that. I'm dealing with that personally right now. I won't say in what particular way, but I have a situation that I have to deal with where somebody that's connected to me believes that they're a woman and they were born a male. So you know, it's a very tenuous, whatever the T word is, situation. So
I understand. I would just say, brother, in all things, just lead with love, and let your heart.
Well, I wasn't asking for advice though.
I know, but I'm just giving.
That's gaslighting.
I said it is better to give than to receive.
Yeah. So who are these Negroes on our screen right now? I don't identify as none of these Negroes.
That's you right there, Wes. Doing a namaste.
I was just saying to myself, well, I can maybe identify with So we're at the end of the week, Jim.
Do something nice for yourself.
Man, I hope everybody has an incredible week. In the comments. I don't know if my mic went out before, but
it went out like the whole show. What are you talking about? And he just bounced. Please, gentlemen, work on your connections. Work on your cricket networks.
We will be here next week, Thursday.
At the same time.
7 days from now.
Y'all got plenty of time to go to Starbucks and cop their Wi-Fi. Wes said my connection died. I don't know about y'all, but I've been laughing my butt off this entire episode. My chest hurt, my head hurts. This was funny. Oh, we hope y'all enjoyed it as much as we did. We do this every Thursday, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Tune in next week.